do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you for joining me once again on this conscious evolution, and specifically for using what you have instead of waiting for more. Today's whole stream topic is going to be about that as a centering thought. How, at least in my experience, bruh, did I lose my little Garrick while coming and sitting down? Peppy Barky Barky. I guess I did. Guess I'm gonna go and have to get another one. Today's whole stream topic is about using what we have instead of waiting for more. And then, of course, I have to learn this lesson of sometimes we don't have what we need. And then we'll have to go and fetch more. I'm gonna go and get some stuff. I'll be back in a second. I am sorry for the interruption. And I'm sorry for Pippi losing her little mind barking at cars. The same car that my mom drives day after day after day after day after day after day. Barky barky. Barky barky barky. Barky barks. Bark bark. I'm barking. I'm barking barking. I'm bark bark. I'm so barky. Yeah, I heard you. I did hear you. You said it. You said someone's here. I heard you the first 50 times. Maybe this is actually an opportunity to add some thieves. Thieves, baby. Relax. Some thieves oil. The oil of thieves. I'm coming back. Pepe's trying to eat my legs. There we go. Sometimes the stuff that we have doesn't suffice. Please, mercy. I'm trying to attach this stream topic to the experience I still have. I don't know if it's rage necessarily, but it's like frustration, you know? It's like I have a puppy dog, but she loses her mind every single time someone comes close. Is that Kate? I was thinking about you last night going to sleep. How strange. It's nice seeing you here, dear friend. Sending you lovins. We have Shan and Duck Dad and Nancy and Kristen and Shell. Blessings, dear friends. I have you all. What more can I want? No, that's some big brain right there, dude. Friends. I feel like if that is an intention, I'm gonna write friends as mine. Friends. Right? Because that is something that happens. Some people believe some friends are almost like placeholder friends. That they have certain friends so that they don't have to be lonely, but they are willing to upgrade friends when they find that opportunity. Audio is good for me. Audio is choppy and jacked. I hope not. I really hope not. I mean, it's plugged in. The battery isn't completely charged. I don't know if that has a role to play. But now instantly my brain is like, bro, fix the audio. Oh, I'm like, I don't know how to fix the audio. Audio is fine for me too. Okay, good. We have a few people who has good audio at least. It's nice having you here, Kate. It's nice having all of you here, friends. Battery on 74. I'm on 80 and 77. Nice synchronicity. Saturday, yay! Love you, Nancy. It's nice having you here. Love, love, love. See my message in Discord. For me, Kristen, who did you send it? I'm not sure. In honor of Sinead O'Connor, I do not want what I haven't got. Rest in peace, Sinead. There you go. Sinead got used, appreciated, I believe, all of the life that he led. And then eventually we have to let go of it, right? And I feel like maybe that's again something we have to remind ourselves of, is that instead of wanting more life, to just live this life more fully, right? While I was doing yoga today, I was kind of like echoing with today's stream topic about billionaires, right? Like we have this conceptualization in our minds that billionaires might, have it different. Billionaires might have it different, but ultimately, no. No, they don't. They still eat food. There's only that much food you can eat. They still need to sleep. They still need to drink water, right? Like this lifestyle we've been sold, and especially this brain damage of your life is not good enough because you're not living a certain lifestyle is kind of like the thing I want to touch on today as well. One more rune. That's the runes. It's a little bit jank, and then friends on the other side, of course. Sounds like a CD skipping. Maybe try turning it off and turning it back on again. I don't know if the audio is on your side. I have like a bunch of friends saying the audio is fine for them, at least Sam, Kate, and Nancy, I believe. I hope it gets better, bro. Is your provider throttling you? Maybe. Damn it. I've reset my phone twice. Sounds like I'm having a stroke. I hope not. I hope not. Thank you, Joy. Joy, it's nice having you here too. Sam, of course. Blessings to you, friend. I'll catch you all later before my brain breaks. Yeah, I get it, dude. I do get it, right? Choppy audio is definitely on the list of my personal pet peeves. I'm sorry. I really wish I could press a button, right? Meanwhile, I'm like masterminding in the background, making the audio bad just for Duck Dad so we can all gaslight him. or everybody's audio is bad and everybody pretends that the audio is good so that I don't lose my mind, and then Duck Dad loses his mind instead, and we're like, yeah. I'll catch you all again. Blessings, bro. Sam, I'm on mobile and Wi-Fi, both the same. Oh well, Saturday's stroke is with me. Blessings, bro. I wish I could do something about that. Freaking audio quality. I'm gonna breathe. It's kind of cold. I do feel like I want the blanket, but I'm gonna weather it. Gonna stay strong. I have what I have right here. If you're gonna start crying for Elon Musk again, let me know. I'll catch you later. No, I don't want to have any conversations about that, Joy Vive. Only point I was trying to make is that we don't need billions of dollars to be happy. That was kind of the point I was trying to make, right? In fact, I don't think billionaires are any happier than you are, right? I honestly, right? Again, it's a matter of a fractal, right? That the fractal of being a billionaire comes with having to do the things that billionaires do, and I don't really want to do most of those things. Kind of vibe, right? I for instance, I think about Duck Dad's life, right, where he gets to grow things, he gets to help people, he gets to make their lives a little bit easier, he gets to serve, right? And even though Duck Dad might not be paid an exorbitant amount, he gets to live that fractal, right? And he gets to participate in his community in that way, where a billionaire can't, right? Like, sure, you can, I guess, grow plants and do like yard maintenance for people or something, be an arborist, but the odds are very unlikely. And what is better, spending 16 hours a day grinding, for some idealized goal of, yeah, well, maybe if I get to this point, maybe if I have this much, then surely it'll be enough. Not realizing that this what we have here right now is what we have to use in order to make our lives better, going forward. What's all the inside intention be? Enough. Yeah. I'll do enough. Enough is also one of those words that doesn't make sense how you spell it. Enoch. Enoch. That's how it should be said. Enoch. But no. Stroke's gone. I'm back. Nice. Wait, why is Mel talking about my job? Replaced by a robot? I'm not ready for that. No. I was actually talking about how your job, in my mind, is better than the job a billionaire needs to do to earn billions of dollars. All right? Because at least you get to see the faces of the people that you help, get to solve problems in a tangible way, for individuals, right? I'm thinking about that I don't know if she's an old lady. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about that lady who came to you and wanted to raise your hourly rate because of how much you helped them, and how you literally create that experience, right? And I think of that as like a wealthy experience, where if you were a billionaire doing billionaire things, working your 16-hour days, you wouldn't. Surely there would be other chances, to have similar fractals, but you wouldn't be allowed that one specifically. And kind of like touching again how maybe that's enough, right? Maybe that's enough. Maybe we don't need all of this stuff we have been convinced is the correct lifestyle to lead. You are loved, bro. Your fractal is appreciated. Thinking about Zano as well right now, how she gets to be an art therapist. Weirdly enough, that has been resonating in my mind, right? I wanna figure out a way to do something like that as well. Your friends inspire me. And even though I don't imagine an art therapist becoming a billionaire, do you need to? Do you need to become a billionaire? No. You get to literally help people, right? People who might be dealing with some bullshit. You get to give them this class. They get to make something beautiful. They get to take it home with them, show their family, show their loved ones, even just be proud of themselves, if they don't have any of that. And if that isn't valuable, then what is, right? Is money really valuable? Coming back to yesterday's topic of, is it valuable to spend 2 million US dollars on a piece of cardboard? Right? Do I want to be a multimillionaire and then to have so much money that I'm gonna start spending 2 million US dollars on a piece of cardboard kind of vibe, right? Like I don't really want to get to that point where you literally do not know what to do with your money. Right? If you don't know what to do with your money, start helping people, bro. Right? Start housing people, start feeding people, start giving people, access to sanitary, you know, sewage systems. Start distributing energy. Like there's a lot more to do with money than what we're using it for at the moment. Whoa, good. I was worried for a second. Nah, bro, you're fine. Just want to say AI did keep me alive this week. I'd be so far behind at work without it. Yeah, 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 yeah. More power to Joe. Joe has been using AI in her workflow, and it's another tool, right? Like just because computers got invented, doesn't mean we're gonna, stop making calculations in our own brains, for example. Like you still have to make calculations when you take one foot and you step it in front of the other, right? But there is still this part of you that has this directive force of like, oh, I want to go to the kitchen. And then you get up and then you move your legs. You don't have to think about the math that's being done to move your legs. And in the same way, I think that's what AI is supposed to be, right? Something that, and this might sound like it's wrong, right? Something that helps you not think about certain things, right? That you get to iterate. You'll still have an active part in kind of like bringing your vision to fruition, but I don't think it's going to be as much of a legwork, right, thing anymore. That's kind of the point to me, at least. I'm a billionaire in vibes and high fives. Yeah, exactly, dude. And I feel like, honestly, you feel day to day richer than some billionaires actually do, right? Like that's kind of like the point I'm trying to make. Hello from Tennessee, popping in to send y'all lovin', sending you lovin's right back. Blessings. Let's see if she tells us why she's in Tennessee. Why you join? I'm sure she'll let us know in a second. I used ChatGPT yesterday for work, Joe. Gang, gang. How was it? How was it, Joy? How was it using your tools? Right? It's another extension to your computer, right? Like, are we gonna stop using computers? No, no, we're not. So, how are we gonna use our computers in the future? That's the question we should be asking instead. It totally helped. Yeah, I love living in the future, gang, gang. My sister-in-law just sent me a picture from her doorbell last night. A freaking bobcat on her step in Dallas. Nice. Big kitty. You wanna come here? Come here, big kitty. Gets mauled by a bobcat. That would be me, I would 100% probably get mauled by bobcats. Oh, look at that kitty. Comes back into the home. That's not a kitty. I don't know what that is. That kitty is angry. I don't know what that kitty ate last night, but it's not happy about it. Man, as a Star Trek episode reminds me of a civilization that forgot how to operate its advanced machinery because it tasked all of its AI operating system and then got in trouble when it broke. Yeah, like there's an anime that I think you would like as well, Sam, called Orbital Children, and it's like same kind of vibes, right? Where they had an AI that got so advanced it literally broke the laws of human intelligence, and then it scattered itself, and then it rebirthed itself essentially. It's a cool anime, right? Like I'm freezing. Can you see the goosebumps on me right now? I think you can. Why do I choose to suffer? Why am I like, oh, I'm suffering. I'm so cold right now. And then I sit. I don't get up to get myself a blanket. Okay. The will is arising, is like, yes, do it. Do it, do it, get blanket. Fine. Fine, brain. If you insist, I'll get blanket. I'm back in a second again. I like how today's whole stream topic was about, using what we have. I do technically have a blanket, right? So maybe that's what I should remind myself of. I do have a blanket, so I'm gonna use my blanket. I don't have to go online and buy a new blanket at least, but I'm gonna have to move my rags and go and fetch my ones. Hello, sister. Dum, 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 dum. Got myself some blankets. Oh, a blanket is what I want. Yeah. My pants got wrecked. You see this? It's been triggering me all day. But I still put my pants on. I was like, well, that's less than ideal. And I was tripping out about it doing yoga with my pants. I was like, bro. Whoa. So I do believe there is some, we call it a rack in Afrikaans. Elastic, there we go. I do believe we have some elastic at home. So it'll just have to get fixed. Doing a bachelorette party with my childhood friend. Okay, breakfast time. Love yous and hope your day is fanciful and danciful. Love you, Joe. Have a good time with your bachelorette party. I'm sure you'll be a smash hit. Show all of those people how cool you are. It'll be impossible for them to not notice, I'm sure. Haha. Now you can see more of my facial expressions. Okay. If I was rich, I could go to Korea and get my Koji cloned. Would you though? Like, is it really practical to clone your animals? I do know that that's actually something you can do. Like, you can actually do that, right? Like, that's not even a joke. We do live in that future where I think it's like $10,000 and you can clone your pet. But bruh, why? Why though? Yes, but why? And I'm hearing, Joy V's being like, because I love my Koji. Yes, I'm not opposed to you loving Koji, right? But you have loved Koji. And maybe there is something beautiful in allowing a new fractal to arise in your life, right? The thing that I'm tripping out about right now is personality, because I do believe Pippi has like a personality to her. Like she's a Jack Russell, and she has that Jack Russell-like character traits, but she also has her own way of doing things and her own way of showing up, I guess, right? Cloning is illegal here. There we go. The more you know. And I wonder, if you clone Koji, would it be indistinguishable, right? Will you know the difference? Is the question that I'm wondering. Because I think about it from a soul perspective, where I believe that even though Pippi is a hey Dan, blessings, even though Pippi is a Jack Russell and she has Jack Russell like neigings, traits, characteristics, her soul is the thing that changes her behavior. And I wonder if you clone an animal, is it the same soul? Right? I don't I don't I don't know if it could be. Right? That's the thing that's tripping me out a little bit. I'm imagining same body, same genetics, maybe even potentially same memories, but new soul. Right? And that's tripping me out a little bit. Duck, you mean an actual cat and not a half-drunk older woman on the couch looking for a hookup? that kind of cougar or that kind of puma, bobcat. There we go. Duck, I love that. Sam, that's exactly what happened when Albinus left Roman Britain to try to conquer Rome and become the latest empire. Brits forgot smelting and all metalworking and pottery. Yeah, like we've lost. I mean, if you just look at the pyramids, right? Like they knew how to build that kind of scale something, and we don't. Right? Like even with our current machinery, it would be difficult for us to. Shit. I'm happy that I noticed my right was not on all of its legs. Okay, let me go back to it. Love again to you, Dan. It's a blessing seeing you. I'm on a bus ride to visit my mom. Haven't seen her since Memorial Day weekend. I don't know what that is. I need the dates, please. But I'm happy to know that you're going and seeing your mom again, dude. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. I'm sure you will as well. Do. All the technology they left behind, and hot baths broken and left to rot, literally. It's crazy how whole societies lose shit like that. Yeah. Fortunately, we live in the internet age, so it's harder for us to lose information that same way. It's not impossible, but it's harder. It's significantly harder for us to lose information now. Well, they were also using lead pipes. Ooh, that's a big yikes. Ew. Lead pipes, knowing they were being poisoned. Romans gave about as much of a shit about their health and longevity as we do. It does seem that way sometimes. I've been propping my space heater on a step stool while taking a shower, using what I have. Yeah, exactly. Using what you have. Shan's gas ran out again, so she's showering cold. The space heater helping to not feel like she's freezing. Joy, to be fair, $20K, you can do it in America. Maybe like some sort of like black site or something. Is that to avoid being electrocuted coming out? No, it's just the cold. You only the 10 I see. So cringe. It's so perfect for the duck dad joke. Okay, so if I leave the stream and come back, then definitely the YouTube algorithm is crackly as fuck when I sit here, and it's fine for your information, Melvin. I'm not fine with it. All right. Come on, YouTube algorithm, become embodied and let me fisticuffs you, beat you into submission. Stop crackling, do your jerps. Come on, Sam, rather than having it directly in the shower with me, yes. Cloning is illegal here, the more you know. Do clones share the same consciousness as the sentient beings? It's like, oh, you see, I'm happy that you're also asking these questions, Nancy. That's the first place my mind went, where I'm like, right? Because I think about it from the perspective, if I get cloned one day, am I going to still be me? Or am I going to be me adjacent? Right? Is there going to be a different soul occupying my body? May 31st. Okay. That's still a while ago. I'm happy that you get to spend that moment with your mom, dude. Drive safe. I mean, the buses. It's not like you have a choice exactly, but anyway, be safe. You sound like my bestie. She doesn't understand why I want to clone my cats either, and says that they won't be the same. I don't know, but I can't imagine them being the same, right? I feel like for me at least, the beauty of owning a pet is getting to spend their life with you, right? And for instance, like I was devastated for months, literally months, when Kiki died, because she didn't get to live her life, right? She died as a 6-month-old baby in my mind, right? Like she was basically, almost fully grown because they grow a little bit faster than we do. But that was devastating to me because she died before she could live her whole life, right? She did really make the most of her time being alive. Like she would literally engross herself in dirt. Like I've never seen an animal that dirty, right? But it was like she would look like she would, try to force dirt in between her hairs. And the way that I interpret that afterwards, after having, seen her pass, I was like, yeah, she knew that she wasn't going to live as long as another dog might be able to. So she was trying to make the most of her experience here on Earth by really embracing and almost like immersing herself in the living experience. And with Pippi, for example, and let's go back to Bingo. Bingo, my dog who passed away last year as well. He was 16 years old. 17 years old. He was 17, no, yeah, between 17 and 18 years old. A 17 to an 18-year-old dog, right? Like he lived his life. But I don't want another Bingo, right? Not from the perspective of he wasn't worthy, but from the perspective of if I got another Bingo, I wouldn't have a Pippi, right? And Pippi, getting to see her grow up, become the little dog that she is, that in and of itself is a beautiful experience to witness, And I feel in cloning your animal, you lose out on that potential fractal. Maybe, who am I to say? Maybe they come out, as a new baby, and the way you raise them, they end up being a different being. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is using what we have, right? That you can spend 10, 20,000 US dollars on cloning your pet, or when your pet passes away, you can go and adopt a new one, right? Or if you are okay with it, buy yourself a new puppy or a new kitty, and then you get to see that little entity become who they're supposed to be. Joy Shakira dance party right now. If you're in Shakira, I'm in for Shakira. Oh, that's so nice, Dan. Wishing you safe travels and a wonderful time with your mama. Bless. Thank you, Shan, for echoing that love as well. So I have a new dad joke that I love, and Duckling rolled her eyes at me. Does that make it a real dad joke? I think so. I feel like if your children cringe, that's how you know. Mojo, blessings. Blessings to you, dear friend. Like, I know this is probably not the appropriate thing to do, but Mojo sent me a message recently just echoing so much love and appreciation, and I want to honor you too, dear friend. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me the way that you do. It means more than I can say. You are appreciated. We see you, Mojo. We love you, dear friend. Everyone knows the pyramids were built by aliens as landing pods for their spaceships. I mean, maybe they were. Maybe. Probably not. I mean, it's like 50-50 at this point in my mind, bro. Like, if you had to bring me definitive evidence and be like, yep, definitely human beings built the pyramids, I'd be like, okay. And if you had to do the exact same thing with definitely aliens built the pyramids, I'd be like, okay. I'm like that undecided, that unconvinced. Like there's the theory that I'd like to subscribe to more than anything is that the pyramids were there before the Egyptians were. Right? That one's my favorite one, actually, where instead of seeing them as things built for the pharaohs basically just took them as signs of power. They were like assigning them to themselves, essentially. There's like a lot of wacky shiznit happening in the Egypt lore, actually. We were catching fireflies last night, and she had 10 in the net at once. I took one, put it on my tattoo of the lighting bugs, and then it flew away. I said, hurry, they're getting away. I'm sure she'll remember it fondly. Anyway, Brother Bear, you're connected that way, singing into a fan. Why via Shia vocal judge? I'm missing some fractals, but I think I'm there with you. I did it like 10 times, never got old for me. So I asked out of women that is an IRL person. damn it, that's possible. I've been dating AI this whole time. What the hell? You can ask out real people. Well, we'll see what she says. Still just sent it over a text. But I'm trying to seek out dates that aren't exclusively strangers on the apps. Yeah. Yeah. Meeting people IRL is definitely almost a skill in my mind, right? Like we have ruined ourselves a little bit with our current internet economy, internet consumption, to not know how to talk to people, right? Because when you're consuming content, it's pretty passive, right? You're sitting there and absorbing, right? And what ends up happening is you go and spend time with people, and then if you don't shift, right? If you don't realize this is now a new mode of consciousness you need to occupy, then you're gonna sit there and wait for someone to say something so you can absorb that information. And that's not a great way to have a conversation, unfortunately, right? So I feel like this space, this conscious evolution that we're doing right now is, at least in part, helping us become better communicators, right? We get to have conversations that might be a little bit out of the norm. Sometimes we do have conversations that is relevant to our current trends. What is viral? Not a lot though, not a lot. But I do believe we're getting better, slowly but surely. He said fisticuffs. You like that one? Joy, I'm laughing so hard after Zakira YouTube suggests is crazy. I could see my little Smoky Topaz again versus a new kitten. I would choose Smoky Topaz. She was a white tortoiseshell with blue eyes. That sounds beautiful. I'm sorry for your loss as well, Shell. There's already a new one. My little black boy who lives on my back porch. Is true. Kay will help me name him Beast, ancient Egyptian goddess. Beast? Bast? 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 Okay, Bast is the protector of cats, women, and children. There are many legends that connected her as an ancient sun and warrior goddess. I love that. More power to Bass, the protector of cats, women, and children. She sounds like a lovely kitty. Dan saying on some real shit, I believe there was a super advanced civilization that existed pre-Ice Age that were wiped out by a massive melting event, like a small asteroid impact, which triggered a great flood. Where have we heard of great flood? Humans in analogy, almost in all of them actually. Every modern religion texts have them. Yeah, I'm not actually opposed to the flood, right? The way I kind of interpret the flood situation is that some sort of it might have been a comet instead of a meteorite. Could have been a meteorite as well, but I'm imagining a comet was probably the most likely fractal, hitting in our oceans, right? If any large object flies from the outside of space into one of our oceans, it's going to send literal kilometer waves over the entire Earth, right? That is going to literally wash the Earth as a great flood. But the way that the Bible talks about the Great Flood is like water just starts appearing. It's like, oh, now suddenly there's water everywhere. No. And then my dad's explanation of that is that there was a whole layer of water outside of the Earth's atmosphere that was serving as a protective barrier. And then all of that water came to the Earth. And that's why we were flooded for 60 days. I'm like, okay. Where's all that water right now? Right? Like if it was flooded everywhere, that means there was so much water everywhere. Where did it go? Right? Where is it? Or it could mean we had a certain amount of water in our oceans and something super massive hit that ocean and then it sent massive waves flooding a bunch of people and then it subtracted back to the oceans as it always does, right? And that's, at least in my mind, the more likely fractal. Drive-by lovins, Kristen, love you too. Sending you good vibes. In the Bible, before the flood, it said that the Nephilim were on earth in those days and also later, like they were present before the flood and after. Advanced civilizations is starting to fit. Like one of the fractals that I heard is that the pyramids were basically built as a protection for civilization or for humanity in general against the Adams event, right? And the Adams event was basically the massive flood or this thing that was hit. So even though they didn't have the technology to prevent this massive asteroid or comet hitting our oceans, they knew it was coming. And then they built these pyramids as like these energy centers that was creating like a force field essentially. And then that force field, or maybe just the pyramids themselves, basically protected a handful of people, because there's like you can see like a weird, my phone just did something weird. You can see like a weird, almost like exponential curve, where after all of this, like basically civilization destroying fractal happened, humans kind of bounce back really quickly, right? And then we see like the start of the agricultural revolution. And that happens almost in a way where it's like we already knew what we were doing, but we had to start over kind of vibe. And it led us to the civilization we find ourselves in right now. Also, if you want to really dig into it without the 200 character limits, let me know. I mean, start a YouTube channel, Sean. Or is that Sam? Start a YouTube channel, Sam. How about you? How about you talk about this stuff? Nudging, 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 kicking, nudging, tackling, nudging. Oh, no, no, no. No, bye bye, Kristen. Drive safe. Love to you. Sam, you had me at also. There have been 5 that we know of mass extinction events on the planet. I firmly believe that mankind has been near wiped out more than once. I think we have been near wiped out at least once, right? Like, I don't know more than once, but at least once. Like, I'm experiencing the weird, and I don't want to be mean, but erroneous fractal of like the Tower of Babel, you know, where apparently all languages arose from God cursing people because they wanted to build a tower up to heaven, but heaven isn't in the sky, and you know, languages have a very natural way of developing over decades, over centuries, you know, and we have different languages because people existed in different places. Okay, let's not get into that fractal right now. But yeah, it's a lot. We don't know a lot about our own past. We have way more water in the ocean and less landmass now than the pre-ice age. Yeah, I'm down with that as well, but still, right? There's no more water than we expect to see, kind of vibe. Doug, no, I'm not prepared to think about Riley. Riley? I don't know that one either. Where's the water? Where there are many states for it. So some are frozen, some are gaseous as clouds. Yeah, then we would still be dealing with it though, right? Like, the point for me is just the fact that we have a certain amount of land mass, right? Like just Pangea, if you just think about Pangea, right? That we used to be a supermassive, almost like single conglomerate continent. And you can see how this thing cracked out of itself and shifted slowly and surely. We know the speed at which it shifts as well, right? Indicating that the Earth is millions of years old, that this process that we're in right now has been happening slowly but surely over millions of years, not over the last 6,000. The problem, I think I missed a few. I believe that whoever survived the flood started teaching indigenous people how to civilize. They taught them agriculture, art, and mathematics. I do believe this too. This shit gets me so hyped. Get it, dude. I mean, get excited about it, right? Like, this is making me happy as well. What about Atlantis is better? Atlantis is real, actually. You know, it's just being hidden from us because they're so advanced that all of our civilizations look pathetic in comparison to you friends who have watched Inside Job. Let's light this joint. I've been holding on to it for like 40 minutes. My intention, friends and enough. I have enough friends. You friends are enough. Celebrating, knowing that this is what we got. Nice. Dan, was he Moses? 2 boys can enable. Yeah, that's also another thing, right? That if we had to assume all of that stuff is true, every single one of us are incest babies. Yeah, it's a little bit of a yikes, yo. I've had that conversation with my dad as well, and he doesn't see a problem with that. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Okay. The problem with starting a channel in particular is that my humor works best when I have someone else to bounce it off. It's just me talking. I get nervous. I mean, find someone who wants to start a channel with you. Maybe a Sam and Shell. I can see you two hitting it off, pretty well in a channel kind of format. I'm just going to keep encouraging you, friends, to create content as well, all right? Because I do believe it's the future. That I think of it from a perspective of the world, right? Like you got born and now you live in the world, right? Oh, wow, melt groundbreaking. Okay, bear with me. And in the same way, there is now this internet world, right? And you creating an account on this internet world is like being born into it, right? Now there is a fractal that has the name Dan Gray on YouTube, right? Being like born onto this platform. And then you can do stuff, right? You can be a person. Sometimes we're the type of person that just is a passive observer. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Most of my time spent on the internet is as a passive observer, right? And then I just realized that there is some sort of value to the self in contributing to it as well, right? That there is something that happens to your soul when you share it in that way. And I feel like that is a very valuable way to consciously evolve, right? And that's the point. I am all the fuck over it. Let's schedule then. Did you, Sam? Let's have conversations together. There we go. Yeah. I was like suggesting Shell, and I think Shell basically took up the mantle herself. Sam, you need a co-host then? That's the way. Sam, is there a chance for the Sam and Duck Dad Yuck Yuck tour? I mean, why not? Duck Yuck Yuck tour. That sounds like a circuit trip as well. Race to copyright strike. So much synergy, Sam, because I had already typed out about 5 minutes ago. Let's schedule some conversations about history and do this. But I erased it to type something else. Go, please. Right? It's very easy. It really is easy. You don't even have to show your faces. You can just do, microphones. You can literally now start a channel just with this device. My whole channel was started just with this same cell phone, right? I've been using this same cell phone the whole time, the last 3 years, right? I've upgraded it with like a little microphone system, but that's only because I sit outside and there's wind sometimes. If you're gonna sit inside your home, your cell phone microphone might be more than good enough, to start, right? To actually get that ball rolling, to teach yourself how to be comfortable with that side of the world. Well, yeah, Shell. I've been wanting to ask so many questions about this shit. Please go. I'll subscribe. Me too, 100%. Well, watch with headphones unless you want your kids to learn new swear words. For example, the island of Indonesia used to be a massive continent called Sundaland. Now, there are a bunch of islands separated by shallow water. That's where your missing water is, Mel. The lost civilizations is likely the Atlanteans for sure. I wouldn't be surprised, dude. Yeah. I learned something interesting recently, that the salinity of the ocean is basically just generations of like rain washing minerals from the landmass into the oceans over and over and over and over again. Right? And that's gonna trip me out as well. It's like, huh. I didn't know why the ocean is salty, but now I do. There's a hole. There's a hole in the bottom of the ocean where the water has been draining. Scientists just discovered it. Saw an article on Reddit about it. Hollow Earth confirmed? Is that what we're saying right now? The story of the Atlantis comes from Solon, uncle of Plato, who got it from the Egyptians. At the time, they said it was 9K years ago when Atlantis was flooded. Sounds around right in the time frame. Between 13,000 and 9,000 years is like basically the estimate for when the flooding event happened. Which also doesn't, at least perfectly align with the religious text as well. Obviously, the hole in the ocean drains the water to ice wall that protects the boundaries of flat Earth. There we go. Yes, it goes like underneath and then it curls around to make ice. Yes, this makes perfect sense. 7:48. Melt catch up. Melt catches up. 9. Maybe tomorrow's stream. 9:78. Joint. Yeah, about Shell. There's like 100% chance I show up. to those stones. If not, why not? Make it a feature. Make it a part of the experience. Shell also, puffs on her vape pen or a THC pen every now and then. So you'd be like, two stoned ladies have conversation about reality. Make it a whole thing. You'll get an audience. Just for that fact alone. Prerequisites. It has to be Melt Pulse 1A is recognized as legit by the geology geology geology. Thank you, brain. And I got geology community for the story of Atlantis is not. I mean, I'm not opposed to it actually, not at all, because the way I think of it is there was definitely some state of reality, right, being occupied all over the world, not only in Egypt, right, all over the world. There's pyramids literally on every single continent. Isn't that strange? Right? Every single continent has pyramids. Everyone. And if you don't believe me, go look it up. Right? So there was clearly some sort of state of reality going on where beings had both the technology and the will and the know-how and the motivation, that's the one I'm looking for, to actually build these things. And now they're not here anymore, right? We have taken their place. Maybe we're the same beings, but we definitely forgot some things on the way. Is that a Who Needs Tears? Anna? No, not Lisa. Thought I was Lisa. Seeing Lisa for a second. It's nice having you here. Sending you blessings, friend. Pulse 1A. I also don't know Pulse 1A though. Yeah, off to Google. Like, go, Dan, buddy. I'd love to buy you a beer and pick your brain. Do it. Just do it. Fucking don't let your dreams be dreams. Do it. Of course not. We'll share a beer like I have my own YouTube. There we go. Where the Atlantis Sink. By the way, love this song by Donovan. I don't know that, Fractal. Atlantis probably didn't sink. In my mind, Atlantis is like a civilization, right? That's the way that I interpret the word Atlantis. In the same way, we have this civilization right now, right? I don't know what you would call this civilization. Weirdly enough, I think of it like as the industrial civilization. Hey, Google, define industrial. Just to make sure I have the right fractals. Relating to or characterized by industry. Yeah. There's a lot of industry. Right? And I think of the previous state of reality being like the Atlantean, world, where they weren't, I don't at least think, they were not producing products at mass. That wasn't their goal. They had some sort of other goal, and like building pyramids was clearly a part of that goal. I could listen to this stuff all day. I'm happy you're having a good time, Joy. That makes me happy. Want me to share my beer? I'll take your hand off. Safer if you have your own. Of course not. We'll share a beer like I have my own and you too. Okay, I think I missed that, Fractal. Sam, are you jumping up and down with a wooden spoon in your hand saying there's a hole, there's a hole, there's a hole at the bottom of the ocean? I can't be spelled. Take the Eye of Sahara theory. Perfect podcast name. Two Stoned Ladies Talk History. Two Stoned Ladies Talk History, right? That does have a ring to it. Like, have you seen Two Stoned Ladies Talk History? It's like, no, like I'm clearly missing out on something. Pyramids are so amazing to me. Same. Melty, you missed my comment. Solar traveled to Earth. Oh, I think I did. Solon traveled to Earth 3,000 years ago, which puts Atlantis sinking at 12,000 years ago. This matches up perfectly with Melt Pulse 1A, the first notable melting event that started the end of the Ice Age. Yeah, maybe that's the real conspiracy. It was me who landed on the Earth. My spaceship sent a massive melting event throughout the whole world, and I was like, don't worry about it, Odes. Like, shit's melting, it will melt more. Relax. And then there will be some stability again for a few thousand years. And then we're gonna have to build those. Ooh, we're gonna have to work a lot. And then suddenly, the year 2020, right? All of us notice, wait a second. The fuck are we doing? What's going on right now, right? We spend so much time at home and the world didn't fall apart? Nani? I've been convinced that if the world stops growing exponentially, even for a second, everything will fall apart. Pippi is making me itchy. She's been pretty flea ridden. I know. It bothers me more than it bothers you, believe me, right? Because now my own skin feels like it's attacking me, where I'm like, something's walking on me. And then I walk to that part of my skin where I think something's walking and there's nothing. And I'm like, bruh, skin, why? Why are you doing this? But I also can't chase Pippi away, you know. I'd be a monster if I did that. Just because she has fleas? No, I couldn't possibly. I couldn't possibly chase my little Pippi away. Look at her tucking her little face into the corner of my leg. Cutie patootie. You missed my comment. Solon traveled to Egypt 3,000 years ago, which makes Atlantis sinking 12,000 years ago. Perfectly aligns with the melt balls. Yeah, here we go, dude. I mean, I would love to have a time machine, right? And it is technically possible. It is technically possible. We could technically do it. We might not be able to alter the past, but we could potentially observe it. You know, like for instance, if we figure out, and this is like the weird, easy way to understand it, if we could figure out how to travel faster than light, exponentially faster than light, for instance, wormholes, we could travel far away from Earth and then look back at Earth. And then the light reaching our eyes at that point, with it traveling as far as it has, will literally show us the past. Right? Think about that. Like it's kind of trippy. Again, right? You punch a hole in the universe. You come out on another side of the universe that is so far away from the Earth that the light that travels at the speed of light literally happened thousands of years ago or reflected off of the Earth thousands of years ago. And then you could literally, in real time, watch them build the pyramids. You're like, oh, that's what they did. Right, interesting. Sure. Well, I don't know if there's any lenses that's that powerful, but it is theoretically possible. It's a pretty cool thing to think about as well. And just scroll the flat Earth subreddit until you find something that fits shell. Yeah, I always have topics to talk about in that fractal. There's this idea in the community that the Eye of Sahara, a unique geological feature in Africa, is the remnant of the city of Atlantis due to the ring structure of the deposits. I've heard that one as well. The story Solon told was that Atlantis was the capital city of the Atlanteans, and it sunk, meaning it was flooded, totally underwater now. That's how the tale goes. Maybe. I mean, I'm down to be, mind blown every single day. That's what I'm here for. But I'm not gonna let my mind be blown by speculation alone, right? Like I like speculating, right? It stimulates. It's tantalizing to my brain, but I do not subscribe, at least to the point where I'm willing to reiterate the information, right? Like that's where usually where I draw the line. Like if I believe sharing something is going to be useful information to the person receiving it, that's where I start especially paying attention, and if not, I don't know if it's wrong to show up that way. I tend to be a little bit more skeptical of the information. Where was it flooded? Near any present continents. They're still pulling things out of the ocean from places that flooded. It's true. That's super interesting, Sam. I'd have to read more about it. There were a seafaring civilization, so it's likely their artifacts are in more than one place. It's true. I've never had heard of the name Solon before. Now, I'm also the first with Solon. I've heard Hermes, right? That's weirdly enough, like the name Solon might be Hermes in my mind, right? Where it was like a dude who was just thousands of years old, teaching people, going from place to place, helping them. Normandy. You're flooded in continents. Atlanteans would also explain the cultural cross-contamination we've observed. Yeah, Pharaoh's testing positive for coke has always amazed me. Yeah, like for coke and for toxoplasmosis. Isn't that interesting? You know what toxoplasmosis is? Toxoplasmosis is basically a virus that propagates in the gut lining of cats. And then when they poop, that virus ends up in their poop as well. And if rats end up eating that poop, they basically get that virus, and that virus makes them literally find the scent of cat urine attractive and makes them be willing to run through open spaces, and makes them basically just do stupid shit that ends up getting them eaten, restarting that cycle of the virus propagating through their bodies. And what we know is that it affects human beings as well, where if you have a certain concentration of toxoplasmosis in your body, it skews your like of cats to the point where you end up having 50 of them in your house, right? And we know now that even the Egyptians had toxoplasmosis, and they were literally cat worshippers, at least in part. Like you don't make statues of something you don't worship. Nancy, there's a lot of speculation about it. Most people think it'd be in the middle of the Atlantic. It's very possible that there were islands in the Atlantic during the Ice Age. Could be. I really want to know what the Dan's date thinks about all this stuff. What Dan's date? The one he's asking out. I mean, I hope that she's down for having weird conversations. Well, she has to say yes first. I'm sorry, Sam. It's Solon. I misspelled it. It's okay. I really want to know. I also need to do some research on this. Please do. Either way, new info to me. The Incas were using coca leaves. I didn't know about the pharaohs. I mean, it's a stimulant, right? And if you need to hunt, for example, being able to chew on some leaves and then go further than the unstimulated people would be able to, that's a literal survival advantage. So I'm not surprised that we've been using coke for a long time as well. Unfortunately, now it's so concentrated and used more as a means of control than it is to survive, right? I mean, we got survival down. Here's where my brain is going. I'm going to speculate that Atlantis was coastal and situated near a delta. And when the delta shifted, Atlantis was not only flooded, but buried by Earth. That could also actually be very much a possibility. It's not speculation, that's history. Solon was a real person, and he did write down what the Egyptians told him. Now, he might have gotten a bullshit story, but Solon was a real historical figure that returned from Egypt with a very detailed and specific Atlantis story. There we go. Thank you for sharing this with us, bro. I think that baby Dan, it's speculated that it came across via Atlantic trade route, which kind of upends our knowledge on ancient seafaring practices. Like there's a lot that we don't know, right? Like that's the joke about unknown unknowns. That even if you were all knowing, there will be unknown unknowns, right? That you can go from this perspective and go like, God doesn't know what he doesn't know because you can't know what you don't know, all right? And there's like a lot of known unknowns and even more unknown unknowns that we can even fathom, like literally orders of magnitude. Like we'll never even scratch the surface kind of vibe. I think that or something similar is likely what happened, Shell. I think volcanic violence, the violence of the flood, the sheer power wiped out so many things that you'll find a rock record post-flood. Yeah, it's just like a washing, right? Like imagine getting pressure washed. Like literally stone gets turned into, small little foundations instead of it being the buildings that they used to be. Just getting like washed, pressure washed. Pompeii was very buried and invisible, so it's a normal thing to happen. There we go. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's also pretty horrible. The fact that those people are literally, like caught in time, like they got snapshotted, like a picture got taken of them with ash. Right? That's like so dark and yet very cool at the same time. That's a great example. The story of Moses opens up by explaining that the whole world would become corrupted by something, and that Noah and his family were the only unaffected ones left. That seems highly unplausible and pretty uncool, if that was the case as well. And that God shook the sandbox because we were doing heinous shit again. The spider sense, my spidey sense says that the reasons have something to do with more forbidden knowledge being explored, which begs the question of where did the knowledge come from? And why haven't we discovered it again, right? Especially with the amount of technology we have right now, you would think we would be much further along. right? And is that just going to be the way that it is? You're going to keep getting wrecked every single time we do something God doesn't approve of, right? Seems pretty immature and what's the other word I'm looking for? Petty. Yeah, pretty petty, right? If you create a civilization, wouldn't you want them to thrive? Wouldn't you want them to do great things? No, 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 no. They're only supposed to worship me. That's what they're for. How dare you appreciate life and your contribution to it? You're supposed to be worshiping me. That's no, no, thank you, no, thank you, sir. I didn't like Anovsky's Noah at first, but multiple viewings and in the context of Mother, now I can enjoy Aronofsky. I don't know the fractal you're talking about. We are a species of amnesia that we are. But I think it's also a part of our power, connecting it back to today's stream topic, that we use what we have, right? If we don't have the knowledge of the old times, then we use what we have to gain new knowledge. And that's, sure, we might be a species with amnesia, but at the same time, we also find ourselves as a very creative species to remake ourselves every single time we forget. God made a promise to never destroy us again. If he's all-knowing, he would have known how horrible the destroying of a whole world would have been, right? Because unfortunately, in the past, the only way we could fathom such kind of large-scale stuff, right? For instance, if you were a human being living amongst other human beings, the coolest thing you could have seen someone do is create something, right? Like paint or build a boat or build an empire, build big buildings, right? Like that was kind of the scale humans were capable of. And even at that, it would take so much time to build something awe-inspiring, right? Now suddenly you see a kilometer wave, right? Coming from the oceans, kilometer waves, right? Like so massive, it's literally unfathomable. Your brain cannot compute what's happening right now. So obviously, you're going to assign that level of scale to a deity, right? Oh yeah, God is angry at us. That's why we're getting flooded right now. Meanwhile, in the chaos of the infinite universe, there was a comet that aligned with the path of the earth, right? And it was pure chance. And then people are like, yep, God is an asshole. He wanted to flood all of us. Unlikely. Very unlikely. That's why I can't take the promise at face value either, because given enough time, there will be another collision event with the Earth and some sort of space orbit, like something in space, whatever it may be. Right. And then what? If another asteroid comes towards the Earth, we're just going to be like, nope, ain't touching that. God said he won't destroy Earth again, So I'm not going to use my nuclear weapons to try and, course correct that asteroid that's heading straight towards us. Nope. I'm just going to trust God. No, please no. I don't believe that promise, unfortunately. I'm not sold. Dan, I'm convinced that the Carthaginians, were not baby sacrificers, but what is remembered. And now it's just Tunis. All of that went over my head, unfortunately. The movie Mother and Noah. Yeah, the movie Mother with an exclamation mark is one of the most traumatizing things I've ever seen. Like, I've never been that uncomfortable seeing something, right? And that is kind of the point of the whole movie as well. It's supposed to give you an interpretation, right? It's like basically the story of the Bible up until Jesus got crucified, right? Like the whole story, like the story from creation, the Cain and Abel story, like there's so many, like I can't even, grapple onto all of them. But it gives you from like a personalized story perspective, that whole fractal. And it shook me to the bone. Like I would love my dad to see that, but I don't think he'd be able to handle it. Definitely not. Definitely possible. Did she direct Black Swan? Yes. Autocorrected. Damn. And he has a new one with Joaquin Phoenix. There we go. Nice. Shantime 1111. Nice. 1774 on my battery percentage at 1111. Nice. I just watched The Whale. It's Ananovsky's too. It's pretty disturbing as well. Hey Google, movie The Whale by Ananovsky. Oh, the Brendan Fraser movie. Yeah, I started watching it, but they made it really hard for me to continue to right off the bat. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this movie right now. Yeah. I'm happy that you watched it. Pretty disturbing as well, you say. I heard that it's a good movie, but I don't know if it's necessarily pretty one, right? Not all things have to be pretty, I guess. I think before Carthaginians, the Phoenicians were in Tunisia. I don't know. I feel like you're speaking a foreign language to me right now. The place called Tunis used to be Carthage, Carthage, the tip of the empire that competed with Rome in the Mediterranean and controlled the African coast. The more you know. It was very good. There we go. I just said that it will grit your heart before you try it again. Yeah. Guard your heart before you try it again. That's probably it. Like I feel like the thing that was so hard for me to see that, and like that I was witnessing it happen right from the start. Is thinking to myself how common it is, right? Especially with this journey of trying to help people, realizing that there are people who have pushed themselves so far into the metaphorical red that it's like literal decades of you having to actively help them in order for them to potentially escape. Right? And that breaks my heart. Just from the principle that there is not enough time, right? There's not enough time for me to help sometimes even a single person for the rest of their lives. Right? And I feel like that's what makes this stream kind of weird to me as well, is that I might not be able to give every single person in the world an hour of my time, and yet this literally allows me to do that. Right? Like it's been an hour and 7 minutes. I've given you friends, and you have given me an hour and 7 minutes. And that would be impossible for us if we had to do it in the traditional sense, right? I would have to travel literally for about 24 hours to be able to get to you right now from South Africa. Maybe it's a little bit less than that, but for all of the travel, from me getting to the airport, flying from the airport, getting to your place, a day, right? 24 hours, so that we could potentially spend an hour. And then I would have to travel back all the way another 24 hours, right? It would be impossible for us to do that. And yet here we have it, right? And then knowing that, right, I think to myself, how can I give you friends conceptually, informationally, meaningfully, even more information value in this hour that we give one another, right? And that's where I trip myself up a little bit, is because I do value your friends' time so much. I was like, for thinking about that the day, for example, where I was like, am I hurting you friends, right, conceptually, by having longer than 1 hour streams? Like I imagine myself sometimes as well. If I see like a 3-hour timestamp on a video, it's harder for me to click that video than it would be if there was a 10-minute timestamp on the video, for example. Yeah, I appreciate you, friends. Thank you for being willing to use what is here, right? That is today's stream topic after all, and you do it so well. I appreciate you more than I can say. Joe Schmo, is he here? There he is. Blessings to you, Brother Bear. Great settlement, Site 2, access to the Medes and the Middle East. I got jealous every time I think about it. The spacing? What's the next? Yeah, I see you friends already practicing for your conversations, but I cannot join, right? It would be like two stoned ladies talking history and one blazed dude unwilling to say anything. Just like sitting there in the corner watching. It's like he doesn't look that blazed, smokes 5 joints. So yeah, he's pretty blazed, yo. Is he not talking because he's blazed, or is he not talking because he doesn't know what they're talking about? Yes. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Mel, summon you, Lisa, and here you are, Management Annie. Namaste, dear friend. It's a blessing. California to Calcutta. I don't know where that is either, unfortunately. It was very weird going forward and backwards in time, literally, right? From the scale of our linear understanding of it. Thank you for facilitating this conversation, and thank you for joining, dear friend. I just wish, again, I could give more to this conversation. I wish I had that fractal, but it's not my fractal, right? I have spent, as a ratio, right, like maybe like 2,000 hours to 1 hour spending time paying attention to philosophy, spirituality, right, technology, like the renewables, AI, that kind of, state of reality. I'm very proficient in. I really pay attention to that stuff, and I have many different stuff to touch on. But when it comes to history, I'm really uninterested. Like I almost don't care, right? I don't. This is going to be a hot take. I don't believe in history, and I want that to like sink in so we can think about what that means, what it means to you, and then I'm going to say what it means to me. I don't believe in history from the perspective of believing it has to repeat itself, right? Where that's like the big thing that people weirdly end up doing is they watch history and realize history can repeat itself, and it does. I'm going to say that as well. It does repeat itself to some extreme, right? Like you can see underlying themes repeating themselves, right? But the nature of what happens with a theme, right? For instance, this theme that we're talking about today, using what we have, right? If I was a builder, right? If I was someone who was building houses, I would be telling you about how you can use the local mud, to make bricks that you can build homes with. And we're going to do that at some point as well, right? But that's not my fractal. So that's not the way I accentuate the theme that we're talking about. And in the same way, I feel like with our current state of being, our current state world, like the technology we've developed and how it's going to help us create things in the future is going to help us break free from some of the patterns we end up, continually doing in our past. And I think, right, and this is my mind again, it can be like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing, right? Where if we end up paying attention to our history to a certain extreme, we can end up doing the same things because we end up learning things, right? Yes, history repeats itself, but it repeats itself because certain things work conceptually, to gain more power, to gain more notoriety, it's basically a power thing, mostly. And then people are like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do that to gain more power. And then history repeats itself. That's kind of like the thing I'm trying to get away from as well. At the beginning of the recorded history, Tunisia was inhabited by the Berber tribe. Its coast was settled by Phoenicians, stating as early as the 10th century BC. I know it kills me that I don't know what to do with that information. Cool? Yeah, I can say cool at the beginning of recorded history. That's like weirdly enough one of the things that I would like the most, right? If I could get a tool, I would want something that can peer into the past. Just so I can know, right? I really like clarity. It's like one of my favorite things. If I can understand something clearly, and I think that's maybe the thing that mildly perturbs me in my ego as well, right? Like I have no clarity about what you're saying, right? You could literally be making up gibberish words, and I'd be like, I would be in the exact same place. Like at the beginning of recorded history, Squeam Squam Squam was inhabited by the Scoobity Boop tribes. Its coast was settled by the Squam Bwam Bwam, starting at early as the 10th century Beamski Boomski. And I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right to me. Oh goodness. I'm having a quiet morning. Happy to be here with everyone. We love you, Shan. Thank you. Know that we're here with you. You know, right? If there's anything you'd like to say, we'll be more than willing to receive whatever. I don't know if I'll always be able to, share in the best way possible, but I know that we don't expect each other to always be able to as well. 2 hours is a long time for internet content, but there has been some rough times where I really needed it. At points, the stream has been one of the few things to look forward to. So I'm glad it's 2 hours, bro. Thank you. Okay. You see, now I have more clarity. There's a new, I didn't know that place in my brain existed, and now it got illuminated by Brother Dan. I appreciate that, man. Blessings. History was written by the winners. There we go, right? It's like learning how to power struggle, and then repeating the same nonsense over and over again. Thank you for that, Joshua. So they traveled by boat from the east to the west, is how I read that. I think Cyprus was also part of the settlements. Calcutta is in India. I'm unsure how you don't know that. I haven't been traveled, right? Hasn't been a part of my fractal kind of vibe. Again, I believe you as a being is technically capable of experiencing everything at the exact same time, right? Literally. I'm not even joking, right? Everything. And Pepe, relax. Relax. Everything at the exact same time. But experiencing everything at the exact same time doesn't serve your survival. She's purring at Yudi. Can you stop? Stop that. Yo, stop it. Stop it, please. I'm trying to. Like, there's Yudi. Yudi is just being a bit duty, and then Pepe is being mean. I'm gonna push you off of my lap if you do that. No. I don't like little growly babies. Lost my train of thought even. Where was I going? I don't know either, Yudi. I'll give you some attentions, bro. India. Okay, there we go, right? So you can experience everything. But experiencing everything at the exact same time doesn't facilitate you being able to bring a spoon to your mouth and eat the food that is on that spoon. Sure, the everything exists simultaneously, right? A little tree breaking through the ground, from its seed and growing into becoming its full self, right? That's also happening right now. And just in saying that, you have access to that part of reality, right? I don't have to specify the tree. I don't have to say what it looked like, but you instantly had that fractal inside of you as well. So from that perspective, we have the ability to experience everything at the exact same time. But the only things we allow ourselves to experience is what ensures that we survive, right? That I can wake up tomorrow morning and make sure I can get to the end of the day without dying, right? That's technically what our information exchange happens for. You want to come into my lap again? No. Okay. So that's how I don't know, Joy. Never mind, you're high. That definitely helps. Pippi is being a bystander. It's like, I'm gonna come and jump on your lap. There you go. Mm-hmm. That's better, isn't it? Oh, shush, really. Okay. When when I get high, I put the cereal box in the fridge because cereal goes with milk. Logic checks out to me. If human nature doesn't change, then it makes sense for me that there are repeating patterns. It's true, right? Like, unfortunately, we still need to survive, right? That has been the state of being, right? That's what been our baseline expectation. But we have solved, at least at the large part, that need to simply survive, right? Like, we have gotten past that point. And I feel like that is going to radically change our human nature, right? I feel like it's inevitable. And I feel it's already happening technically. Unless human nature does change. There we go. History repeats itself. It's just another way of saying humans repeat the same mistake, which is exactly why we need to know our history. I don't recommend not learning history. I just recommend critical thinking, you know, like proper reasoning in this moment more than I recommend history. For example, right? This is the way I think of it, and it's me drawing extremes. We can have both, but this is the way I think of it. I would rather would have had a class where they were teaching me how to critically think, how to solve problems, like debate, for example, than at my history classes. Because we had history, right? Most of that information is basically just hearing about the genocide that happened in my country, and I'm like, oh, nice. Genocide, great. Oh, and it happened in Germany as well. Oh, fantastic. Right? Like, we were learning about World War II, essentially. And sure, maybe it was helpful, but we weren't asked, any questions. We were questioned, and the questions had to reflect regurgitated information. And I don't think that's helpful. That's the point. That's basically my relationship with history, the way that I was, taught it as a kid. And I didn't appreciate that. I didn't feel like it was useful or helpful, for my development. Damp potato chips. That's what I was thinking as well, right? Not damp potato chips, but damp cereal. Like, your cereal is just going to be not disintegrated, but just soft enough so it doesn't have any crunch left in it anymore. And I was like, with the whole cereal in the fridge thing. History repeats itself because humans refuse to fucking learn. Yeah. And greed keeps coming back in one way or another. I'm mainly fascinated by what used to be and how the past has shaped us. Without it, we have the amnesia Dan talked about. Agreed. It's true. The human condition. But again, right, and you can think of it from a Stoic perspective as well. You can see that human history just happening right in front of us, right? You don't even have to look back. You just have to look. That's all you have to do. Just like be like, oh yeah, how about all this? Why do people keep doing this shit? And then you can realize that it's a part of you that gets angry, and that part of you that gets angry recognizes, right? Knows deeply, knows thyself, knows that thing that you don't like happening, that greed, that exploitation, is possible in you too, right? None of us are above it. All of us just need to learn how to control it, right? And unfortunately, that's where we make the mistakes, right? And forgetting that we have that power, right? Basically, like, resigning the fact that we have that power, resigning our ability to get better as well. The human condition is constantly trying to overthrow the story of Earth without giving reverence to the Earth itself. And that is a historical mistake, yeah. We need to realize we are one with the Earth as well, right? There is no pumping horrible gases into our air without it affecting shit, yourself and the world at large as well, right? And that's where we are right now. We're like, oh, it's affecting shit, right? And it's just not good. We should stop. We should do something else, right? And there is some cool stuff coming, right? Like, we're going to probably, at least mildly, terraform our planet again. I was reading about countries in North Africa and was mostly just aware of Morocco. Reading about Tanzania made me want to visit there. Nancy, maybe, right? Maybe that could be a cool place for friends to meet up even. That's a cool concept. That was in my media major melt. Do ideas inspire progress, or does progress inspire ideas? Yes. I think it's both. I do think it's both. right? Like I feel like it's a iterative process where every technology builds on the technology underneath it, right? That's how it works for everything. If you just look at the progress we've made with semiconductors, right? Our chips, right? These things that get manufactured in silicon, right? In multiple layers with like light, essentially, right? Like very small beams of light, literally carving little cities into these spaces. And that technology, you know, is basically like steps on steps on steps on steps on steps on steps to get us to where we are right now. It's like a both kind of thing, you know. Like we do use the technology we have as a as the progress, you know, to generate more ideas of how we can build onto it. And then those technologies equip us in new ways, allows us to think about things in new ways. And then that new way of thinking allows for new ideas. And then those ideas get us more progress. And then that progress gives us more ideas. And so we go over and over, growing towards our own awakening, slowly but surely. I think the answer is both. There you go. Yeah, I'm happy that we're in the same fractal, bro. It takes time to learn the names of places, Melt. It does. It does. And it especially helps going there, you know, and like hearing the names over and over again. It's the first time I'm ever hearing these names you friends are using. That's why I could like, I made up the gibberish words, you know, as a joke. This is a repetition that humans have made for a long time as words have been written. Exactly. I'm going to stop packing to tell you that even though I can rarely make the whole stream, I love when I hang out the whole time. And we love having you here. Kristen, blessings to you, friend. Thank you for taking a moment to let us know as well. The world is full of geography and places have names. Yeah. Hey, Google, how many places are there and how many names do they have? Because what we have to take into consideration is that there are places that have multiple names, right? That there are places in South Africa that got renamed, and I had to learn new names for the places that I already knew names for. Like, how many places in South Africa? There are more than 200 cities. Do I know the name of the 200 cities in my own country? Not a chance. No, I don't, because I don't go there. Right? So knowing that city is brain real estate that I don't want to invest to something that's not going to serve my survival. If I want to go to the city, I can be like, oh, I'm going to Skibidi Bobbidi. And I can put Skibidi Bobbidi in my GPS and drive to Skibidi Bobbidi and then be like, hello, people of Skibidi Bobbidi. Right? And I can maybe remember that afterwards. Oh, yeah, I've been to Skibidi Bobbidi, right? I know that place. But if I haven't experienced that fractal, it's almost like wasted real estate in my brain. And I am going to, right? That's why I look forward to the technological future we're heading into, because these devices already help me remember more than I can remember with just of my brain. Like I have literal pages. Like I have at least 500 full written pages of ideas just on this device, right? You know, pages and pages and pages and pages. Feelings of states of being, of ways of processing, right? And sure, my brain has all of that still available to it. But again, I think of it as a web that I have now experienced and have access to. But the recall is a little bit harder because it's like the singular moment, right? And being able to pull from my infinity, just of my own life experience, never mind all human life experience. Like I look forward to the future. I feel like we're going to literally become a new species by having access to the information in a little bit more meaningful way, right? Literally, not only remembering our history, but remembering everything, and then using that remembrance of everything to make better decisions going forward. There is a state of being and non-being. We're in a state of being and non-being. It's weird. Yeah. Ebb and flowing, right? Fluctuating always. It does make the day better. I agree, Shad. Good luck on the packing. Moving is hectic. It really is. Blessings. Kristen, packing. What did I miss? I also feel like I missed something, Shell. I didn't know. I thought she was just packing to go like somewhere. Not. I think she's a vacay. Yeah, that was also what I was thinking, Sam. I love waking up to South African sunsets. Blessings. Well, any good teacher is just teaching you to critically think regardless of the topic. It's the main problem of our educational systems. Yeah. I don't even think it's a problem of good or bad teachers. I just think teachers are literally a part of the system that got taught by bad teachers that are a part of the system that got taught by bad teachers, right? Like I feel like that's the problem. That's why I look forward to the AI, future when it comes to like education as well, where now every single child has the best teacher that knows everything, that actually knows everything. I don't know if you friends also, at least in primary school, uh, really believe what your teacher said, right? Like I would come home and tune my parents. My teacher said, wobbity wobbity. Like I took them as an authority, at least for a while, until I realized when I would like say stuff that my teacher said to my parents, they were like, no, that's not right. It's not true. And I was like, wait a second, my teacher doesn't know shit. Right? And then I would go back and I would be like, oh, actually, remember that thing you said yesterday? It's not true. And they really didn't like that part. Right? And I was like, wait a second, what's going on here? Right? Is everybody pretending? Are people pretending to know what they're talking about? Right? I thought we already knew what we're talking about, but it seems there is still a lot of confusion going on right here. Little did I know who I would grow up to become. Right? Looking in a mirror, my little child self would be horrified. It'd be like, wait a second, you also know nothing? Yeah, fam. I know probably less than most of us at this point, right? Like I feel like I'm losing sometimes, dude. And my poor kid self, I can see him horrified. Yeah. So hoorah to better teachers. Even if they have to be AI. Our education system, the method by which we educate our youth, is only about 100 years old, and it's only a theory. We would change the way we school in the future. Yeah, we should. Never mind, could. I feel like it's an inevitability, and I believe it's going to be largely AI based, right? And we have proof of this already. More so, proof of why it's going to be the inevitable future. Because if you look at the top performers, the people that can afford to have private classes where you have one-on-one teachers, literally walking you through the subject matter and reiterating over and over again if they see you making a mistake and explaining to them how their logic, isn't actually facilitating the solving of this problem that they're being presented with, right? That's how you get people that are book smart, right? In quotation marks, the people that get good scores in class. Sure, there is some sort of biological element to it as well, but in large part, right? Even if you give people less gifted the same amount of attention, their scores reflect in the same way, almost better than people that are gifted that get no attention, right? So the inevitability in my mind is having an AI teacher for every single child, right? Where you literally, as a child, have access to the best teacher that there could ever be. And sure, the technology at this point is still in its infancy, right? I'm not talking about right now, it's going to happen today, but if this in the next 10 years, right, like 10 years from now, the year is 2033, and almost every child on earth is not being tutored by a specialized AI model, I would literally be shocked. I would almost be in a state of disbelief, right? Because I cannot imagine it being anywhere else. I think the role of people teaching children is still going to play a massive part, but I think we're going to teach children how to be people, right? How to be compassionate, how to be friendly, how to understand, how to deal with rough emotions, how to actually communicate in a way where we can solve problems, how to debate properly, how to have conversations that actually facilitate meaningful growth. We're not going to be teaching kids history or math. I don't think so, right? I really don't. It's just not practical, right? Again, from the whole time-based thing, right? Sometimes it could take one teacher literally a whole day to teach a child one topic, and we do not have enough people in that case to teach every single person, but we do have the processing power, and we're going to have more. The point is what you know about World War II today, not how you could use it when you were in school. We learn about it for later use. I guess, yeah. In Star Trek, Vulcans educate their kids one-on-one in these big-ass holodomes. Yeah, where the kid learns with an AI instructor, I think that's a good direction. That's 100% where it's going to go, right? And I feel like that's going to make the most specialized and powerful human beings as well. Like imagine if a kid just has access to this AI model And every single day, like they find what that child is most drawn to from a spirit level, right? Like from a soul, I'm here to do something. And then having this interpreter that can literally be like, oh, this is what you want to do? You could solve these type of problems that we're facing in our world right now. And they can be like, oh, this thing that I would love doing has this problem that is realistically solvable in our world. And then we have people that literally show up for the world in ways that we've never been able to before. Crazy cool idea, Sam. Yeah. I also think the approach needs to be balanced by human interactions. Forming connections is important. True, right? That's like the human part of it is going to be teaching kids how to form connections, right? How to maintain connections and how to build new connections. And then the AI side of it is going to be more mind stuff, right? Like it's hard for me to even explain to you how my mind works. You know, like the way I interpret information is different to the way you interpret information, is different to the next person's. And now I can share my interpretation, and then my shared interpretation basically encodes into your interpretation, and then we get to understand something even from different perspectives in different ways, trying to touch on the same point. But now imagine having one person doing that for a classroom of 50 or 10, you know, even if we have to scale it down as well, right? Like that's a lot of dissonance slash loss of information, you know. And then if every single kid had to ask you that same question so that they can understand it in their way, if they didn't completely, you know, absorb what you just said, it takes too much time to teach ourselves that way. But emotional connections are, I feel, even though they're more complicated emotionally, you know, from the perspective of how rapid they can come, they're not the hardest problems. I feel like they're the most common ones, you know, and that's why it feels hard, because we keep trying to solve the same problem over and over again. But I feel like that's also where we get it wrong. In the same way, if you do math, you're gonna continue to do more math, right? There's no like doing the math and then getting done with the math. You can't do the connections, do the humaning, and then be done with the humaning, right? Unless you're actually done with the humaning. And then there's no math as well, luckily. Shell, have you heard of have you heard of the book American Prometheus? It's a book that the Oppenheimer film was based on. Nice. More history, right? Like David in Prometheus, it's interesting that the movie and The Lighthouse was both versions of that story. One-on-one instruction is basically the best you can do. Yep, and AI can help us handle the demand area 100%. I'm happy that we're in the same fractal, Sam. Oh, that's Dan. Yeah, Dan. I also think that approach needs to be balanced by human. Again, yeah, the connections. Movie. Remember watching the original Oppenheimer. I really want to see the new Oppenheimer movie. I don't know if I'll be able to see it in the cinemas though. Maybe if I really try hard. The title I'd read. Prefer. How was Amara? Getting all geared up for schooling, I imagine. Middle school is scary and exciting for the new ones. I hope it's going smoothly for you. Thank you for asking. I wonder if Shan said anything. Joe, Amara staying busy this summer. I'm grateful for that. There hasn't been a whole lot of prepping for school just yet, but with school just starting next month, we'll be prepping very soon. Yeah, she's gonna go from going to the same classroom, having the same box for her books or her bag, to having a locker and having to move from class to class, right? That's like a big shift in and of itself. Dan, have you seen David Lynch's version of the atomic bomb in the Twin Peaks: The Return? Worth a YouTube viewing. It's to the music tyranny for the victims of Hiroshima. We all pretend to know what we're talking about. Yeah, we do. I do know what you mean. Yes, we do that. You're right, Joy. Feels good about stuff. Yeah, I know something. Sun is coming out on my side of town too. Sun has set over the horizon for me too. Have my sun, dear friends. Use it well. Go and share love while you have the light. Keeping it simple is a great way to finding happiness. Finding joy in the sunrise and the songs of birds and the breeze is necessary. Yeah, 100%. It's not practical to teach children math or history. That is why we don't let you make the rules, Melty. No, I don't want to make rules. These aren't rules that I'm making. I'm just making statements, right? I could be wrong. I'm sharing opinions. I could be wrong. I'm fallible. I can fail, right? I fail all the time. I'm not saying these are the rules. All I'm saying is if you look at so again, right? Just think about Africa, and that's where my mind goes, right? Like all of these topics that we share, usually when I think about the future, I think about my people, right? I think about the people that will be able to be affected by my journey, as I go forward, right? The people that I can affect first. And in Africa, there is a massive, like enormous discrepancy between well-trained people that actually know history and math and the amount of children that need to be taught history and math. And from that perspective, it is impractical, Joy, to let just humans teach them history and math. It cannot be done. It cannot be done, right? And I think about those people first because those are the people that are the most disadvantaged. They need the technology first. And I've shared this with you friends. Like one of the things that I would like to do in the future is literally load trucks, multiple trucks with solar panels, battery systems, Starlink, connectivity or whatever, satellite internet is available, and then literally take donations of cell phones. If you have a secondhand cell phone, post it to this address, we put it in a box, we ship it to Africa, we get those cell phones in the hands of children, and we give them an AI model that gets to teach them, right? That they get to show up for, they get to be asked meaningful questions, they get to be taught theory of mind, they get to learn how to think for themselves, how to solve problems, right? And that's going to drastically change the potential, life experiences they could end up having. And it's what's like, what's the alternative? I'm going to make more people and then teach them how to be good teachers and then make sure I can give them salaries and then get them to drive out into the middle of Africa to teach children and then expect them to live there and be okay with that, right? What's more likely, that I can get devices into the hands of children that can teach them things, or the alternative, that's people, Joy, right? Which is more practical? Which is more practical? It's not rules, it's logic, right? It's like, if this, then what? And I'm trying to think of it from a problem-solving perspective. I'm sitting in the sun every morning with eyes closed, looking at the sun through kids. Through eyelids, it's supposed to be really good for eyesight. I'm guessing through eyelids. I do the same thing. I did that this morning, weirdly enough, like where I actually, put down a cushion and just sit in the sunrise, and it was just so nice. I spent I played some kalimba as well for like 15 minutes, but it was nice just being, in the sun in that way. Look, what I remember from math class is being told that I'd never just have a calculator on hand when I was growing up, and I needed to know that shit. Me too, Sam. That was like one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Where my teacher also did the same thing for me when I was like grade 4. No? Yeah, grade 4 and 5, right? So 11 and 12. When there was like multiplication, problems, I would use my calculator. What? Donkey Mama, my mom was correcting me about what my age was. I don't think that's relevant to the point. We're talking about not having your calculator on you. And yeah, now literally every single one of us carries a computer with us. Never mind a calculator, an actual computer, something that can do significantly more than a calculator can. And it's only going to get better, right? And it's only going to get smaller, and then it's going to be becoming a part of us, literally, eventually. Joe, Amara, staying busy. I think I've heard that one. Calculator is useless if you don't understand how to get the answer that you need. Also true, right? Like, it's like we're drawing lines. It's like you need both, right? You need the brain and you need the computer so that there can be an experience shared between the two, right? We don't have to replace one with the other. We get to have both, right? Balance. We're trying to reach balance. We're not trying to destroy one or the other. I think there's a feeling, I think she's feeling a little bitter about going to middle school too. We have orientation her, and I will have to go later this month, and that will help. Thank you so much for asking, John. Thank you for letting us know too, Shan. I'm happy for her. If you never learned 2 + 2, you can't make a calculator tell you the answer. Yeah, again, we can do both. Nancy, it's only way I let myself wake up. I try to start my day with itemizing all the little things that make me smile. I can remind myself of them when I start to see the other side. There we go. Pippi is shaking. Are you pretending to be cold right now? Like, I don't have that much blanket, actually. I wish I had more as well. There you go. I thought I said it for you. Big year. I'm happy that you aren't feeling apprehensive about it. Checking in on you. Love is true. You use math every day. I'm not saying everyone needs higher math, but if you think Google could help you without knowing the basics, then you're back to the calculator being a paperweight if you don't already know the calculations you need to get the answer. Yeah, I agree with that. I do. And she, yes, getting centered and getting grateful and aware of yourself in concert with this existence is a great way to notice the hidden blessings in synchronization. Like just listening to the birds in the morning, for example, is like a big thing for me. You know, like while I was doing yoga today, a little bird landed on a branch and I could see it turning its head and looking at me while I was doing my yoga poses. And like I just felt that synchronization and connection with the world as well in that moment. Then it's the beginning of episode 8, season 3. There we go. Guessing some sort of show. Maybe the Star Trek one. The place is one of those blessings. Melty, thank you for being here today. Thank you for joining me by the bear. All right, like that's how here exists at all, is with you being here as well. I used to use the calculation to get a percentage, but I don't anymore, so I forgot it. Now I just ask Google. I literally type in the box 3.5 of the number and the effect, and there you go. Now Sam is like countering joy with like, oh, actually, I can use the calculator without knowing how to do it. I think she'll be fine, Joe. The only thing I'm nervous about is the amount of homework she'll have this year. Thank you so much for checking in with me. I really appreciate that, friend. So many blessings. Thank you, Shan. I'm happy. Yeah, the homework was a big thing for me. If makes sense, return, Melty is thinking. Yeah, exactly. Makes sense. Makes sense. My calculator on my phone gets a ton of use for smaller shit though. I can do the paper math addition, but why when I can do it quicker on my phone? Yeah. Quicker and with 100% accuracy, right? Like if you do the math, even if you can do the math, right, in your mind, there is still a part of you that second guesses, right? It's like, right? I mean, if you do it with a calculator, there's none of that, right? So you get that ease of mind on top of the fact that you get that ease of calculation. I did that yesterday, Sam. I love Google, but guess what? You learned your numbers and percentages, so you knew what you needed to ask to get your answer true. Homework? No. I agree with you, Joy. You need to have some of the background information and critical thinking to know what the question to ask in order to get to the answer. It's true. I feel fortunately, AI could even be better than most humans in teaching kids how to do that, right? How to ask the right questions. Also with higher math, if you ask the wrong questions for calculus, for example, you get the wrong answer. True. I don't use calculus every day, but I appreciate that learning it helped expand my mind. It gives you new little novel ways of solving problems and seeing the world, right? For me, the same thing is sacred geometry. I feel like that should also be something important to teach children. Like that also changed the way that I see the world. And even though it doesn't necessarily require me to solve math problems, I can see numbers within reality, right? It teaches you something. I don't use calculus every day. I think I read one. Infrequently, I use formulas at work. Made me think, is there a formula for karma? There is. Karma equals function of cause and condition. K equals F X Y, where X is cause and Y is the condition. Interesting, Nancy, because a part of me doesn't believe in karma, right? The part of me that doesn't believe we're being victimized. Because in my mind, there is like a mild level of victimization with karma attached to it, right? And that might be like a weird thing to hear, but I think of it from the perspective of if karma, then like I want to say exploitation or consequences is technically the right word, could be as well, but that's like a whole other thing, because I do believe in consequences, and I do believe in the cyclical nature of reality, right? Like one thing leading into another. I think of it like a torus field, to be completely, honest. A torus field can be seen as like a three-dimensional representation of an infinity symbol, right? So you see the infinity symbol. If that infinity symbol had to be extruded all the way around, now you have a donut. And that donut has its insides penetrating in the middle, its outsides, and its outsides bleed into its inside, right? And like I feel like that might be closer to the nature of reality than it necessarily being karmically charged necessarily, right? Because in that, I don't know if that also has some sort of math function attached to it, who knows? But yeah, no, Mel, doesn't make sense. Makes sense is the same as makes sense equals false. So melty thinking when it doesn't make sense. It's like, wait a second. If the squinty eyes, get switched on, then something is not right. I understand that, Shan. My daughter started high school yesterday. It's so crazy. Blessings to her as well on her journey. A MCE, massive coronal ejection, and it knocks out the power grid. And you've been using computers for mathematical processing, my friend. You will be screwed. Yeah, right. But even if that happens, one side of the world is still going to be shielded, right, by the mass of the Earth. So even if that's the case, there will still be computers on the world, right? Even if we get hit by an EMP, I don't know if it's the same thing as a massive coronal ejection. I think it's basically the same thing. It has like EMP qualities to it. If an MCE or EMP hits, yeah, even if that happens, half of the Earth will still be shielded by its own mass. So our computers will still survive. That's not how it works, homie. It actually is, Joe. I'm pretty sure about this. I was also kind of worried about the same thing, right? I went through this trip of like worried about, our dependence on technology and how invested we're getting into it. And, I dove into that fractal. And one of the informational bits that came to me in that moment is like, oh, y'all, the Earth will also serve as a shield, because we are a sphere. So one side of the world is always going to be shielded from the sun. EMP will engulf the planet like a wave of water over the surface. That's unfortunately not how space works. Like in the void of space, like just if you think about our electromagnetic field, for example, right? Like that also kind of like serves the function of keeping us safe from the outside world. And it doesn't wash over us like an ocean because we have this literal shield that the Earth is creating. I made a delicious cup of coffee. Nice. Enjoy, dear friend. Well, if you believe, if interdependence, then you also have karma. Yeah, I love again. That's what I was trying to say as well. Like, I don't know if it's right non-existent. Like, I feel like it makes at least some conceptual sense to me, but there's a part of me that feels apprehensive to it because I don't see this as like a victimization. I think of this as very much you choosing as God to experience everything at all times, right? And what happens in our minds as a linear human being, because you were born as a child and then you grew up to becoming an adult, we think that it continues that way, right? And in that way, karma will make sense because there is like stuff you're doing leading to the next thing, right? But the way the stuff you'll experience is going to be influenced by the stuff you've experienced, right? But there's no victimization. There's no you having a score. There's just you getting to experience everything there ever is, right? For instance, in the whole karma understanding, you can be born as a cricket, if you lived a horrible life as a human being, for example. Where I don't believe that is in the practical, where I think God as consciousness, as awareness, appreciates, loves being the cricket just as much as it would love being the human, right? That there is no separation in that as well. That love is true for both sides of that reality. Yes, she did. That's not how it works, homie. Can't imagine starting high school. Thank the Lord I'm done with that. Same, bro. Yeah, high school was not fun, man. Yes, but I worry about her workloads as well. Just like I wish they taught communicating and life skills like we talk about more. Yeah, slowly but surely. Damn. half of the planet still has a power grid that's still half of the planet. Yeah, right? But that hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. It's one of the possible, scenarios. Like that supermassive volcano could erupt right now, and we can be cast into a new ice age, right? 10,000-year dark age, for example. That could also happen. Also possible, right? Like there could be, aliens that invade Earth right now and then laser us all into smithereens. That could also happen. But am I going to not use my technology, not use what I have? Right? That's the point of today's stream topic, Joe. So maybe this is the perfect place for us to be. Am I gonna not use these tools, my computers, because of some sort of fear that something horrible could happen that makes me not being able to use the computers, right? That's like, oh, I'm not gonna use my pickaxe because if I use my pickaxe, I might break my pickaxe using my pickaxe. And then I'm gonna leave my pickaxe standing there. And then I have to dig my holes with my hands or do the math with my brain kind of vibe, right? Is that Sena that I see? Blessings to you, dear friend. It's nice having you here with us. Sending you blessings. Same Lisa, teach the things that will actually help them. Yeah, half of the planet. Again, just saying you need to know math. Yeah, I'm not opposed to people knowing math. I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying that we should know how to survive without it. I unfortunately don't believe that, right? Like I feel like that's like saying we need to learn how to survive without food. Right? It's one of the things we have, and it becomes a part of our diet. It becomes a part of our life, right? And learning how to live without it, I feel conceptually is important, right? And that's something I share with you friends as well. Like take moments out of your day where you don't have the distraction of the internet or a screen, right? Like I feel like that's more important. And I feel like me and you would resonate on that, Joe. Never mind being able to do math, just being able to entertain yourself, being able to appreciate where you are, appreciate this moment without any technological stimulation, right? I feel like that's very important, more so than being able to do math, right? That's maybe like the place I'm coming from right now. Yeah. Electronics isn't a life requirement. Yeah, technically it isn't, right? But it's part of our lives, you know? And from my perspective, food and water and even air is also not a requirement, right? It's a requirement for this physical form of mine to continue existing, but it's not a requirement for the I consciousness to continue existing, right? And I keep consuming food and water and air so that I can continue existing as this form. And a part of this form, I find myself in a world where I have these tools, right? So they have become a part of my life. Like I can't, like, how do I learn? Like I can, I'm like answering my own question as I'm asking it. I can technically have a conversation with another person or a group of friends, right? Like I still have that skill, but there's no way for me to communicate in this way to all of you friends all over the world without this technology, right? It's not like I can learn, you need to know how to, talk to people all over the world without using technology, right? Like, sure, I could learn how to use magic or, some sort of mind casting technology, right? But I'm not there just yet, unfortunately, right? Like I accept my limits, at least mildly. A merchant does not need to have the carpets on hand for his buyers immediately. Just needs the contacts necessary to move the goods. Yeah. Wouldn't be communicating on the stream without mathematics. Also true. If you break your pickaxe, just head back to the Falador and purchase a new one near the Dwarven mines. Yeah, you don't die without the wires. You will currently die without the food. Yes, but you will continue, right? The thing that you actually are continues either way. You don't need either, right? You are in a state of no need, right? The real version of yourself is only there to love. That's that's the only thing that it needs. I can't put this pinky. It's the only thing that it needs. It doesn't need any more than that, right? Everything else is extra. It's the stuff we get to use. Today's stream topic again. It's what we have. It's not what we need, it's what we have. The process of learning calculus inspired art and artistic thinking in me. I don't think it's a linear thing. Yeah, we wouldn't be in the king of houses. We live without mathematics. It's true. I'm not saying mathematics is bad, right? I hope that's very clear. I'm definitely not saying that. All I'm saying is that with our computers, we get to do even more complex math, right? It's like a co-creation. Like our calculators, even to the smartest of math people, have helped them with their practice as well. Mel, have you seen Hidden Figures? Computers used to be people. Yeah, true. The movie is about a group of black women computers who helped get us to space. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. I have heard about their history. They literally had to calculate things with their minds, and it's like if it wasn't for their calculations, we wouldn't have been able to get to space. I haven't seen the movie though. Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures. Send me the name, can put it on my list. Thank you. Celebrating. Never mind even black women, just our women in general. I think most of the calculators, right, those actual calculators, the computers used to be people. They used to be women. The people that used to be computers used to be women, like a majority. Like they had like more of that capacity to actually do that, hard work. And as you mentioned, right, I think it's like the same thing for code. It's like this woman, I've forgotten her name. Hey Google, what's the woman that wrote most of the code for the space launch? Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get the result, but like there's a photo of her standing next to her code that she written by her own hands, like it's so absurd. Shan, I know, right? I've been super busy with work. I hope you're doing well. Sending you love and light and positive vibes, blessings. Math is the only universal language. I would argue beauty is also one of the universal languages, and shapes, right? Sacred geometry is also a universal language. Like, and technically, they are both, at least theoretically, attached to mathematics as well. Like we can use that language in different ways, right? Like dialects. Sounds amazing, Joy. I'll check it out. Please do. Saying I missed you. We have friends. Nice having you. Melty, I'm just playing devil's advocate on the subject. Of course, bro. I'm not fighting you. I'm just sharing my perspective as well. Like that it brings out new and novel conversations in the stream, and it helps us to crystallize in our own minds what this is supposed to mean. So know that I always appreciate your input, bro. I know where you're coming from, brother, and I know where you're coming from as well. I'm agreeing with you, right? Like I agree with you, and then I have to say I should probably like say and or yes and, right? It's like I read your comment like we shouldn't rely completely on computers. Yes, and we need to still use these computers, while we have them, right? Like I agree with you, bro. Thank you again for contributing in the way that you are. I've been dadding. Hope you have a wonderful stream. Love you. Music is a universal language. True, but some people don't speak the same languages, right? And they don't like the same languages. For instance, like my family doesn't necessarily like psychedelic trance. Even though we are the same family, we have the same, at least roughly, genetics. We speak the same language, yet we don't like the same music. Zoom, 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 yeah, my, zoom, 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 yeah. Consciousness is eternal, and we don't require these bodies to progress. But on the subject of gadgets and gizmos, I love them, and I use them while we got them. I'm also learning how not to use them. Yes, and I believe that's a good thing, Brother Bear. Especially so that you just have the freedom to be without them, at any point. Even if it's as simple as your battery dying. Are you getting into improv? Yes, and I mean, maybe, right? Like I keep paying attention about how to communicate and how to make people feel safe, right? Like I'm trying to get better at facilitating good conversations, but I'm fallible. I'm a person. I still need to learn a lot, and I appreciate you, friends, for teaching me the way that you are every day. Interesting. Music and math, in all ways, have wavelengths played at intervals, literally, right? It's like a really cool thing about it. Life is a sine wave, right, Shell? Mm, music without lyrics is universal. Melty, are you getting into improv? That's a job going, Sena. I don't know if Sena's still here. I think she maybe just popped in to say hi. Thank you for sending her even more love, Shan. What I meant about the universal language is if you step into a small village and don't speak the language and start playing drums with your hands, people will join in with smiles. This is true, right? Like I feel the drums is like a primordial one. It's like the beating of a heart, like the doof, 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 doof. So familiar, you know, everybody knows what's supposed to be done, you know, if that happens. Imagine some people get a surge of emotions from math, just like music can do. Yeah, I've never been one of those people, unfortunately. Like music definitely gives me that surge, but unfortunately, math hasn't. If you do comedy improv, you're always supposed to reply with yes and, so that the improv skit never dies. Agreed. And it also helps with the psychology of setting the other person at ease, because if you agree with them, if you say yes, right, that communicates to them subconsciously that you're not opposed to them, or they're not doing something wrong, or you're not thinking that they're, you know, bad or whatever, even if you don't agree with them, right? For instance, someone might say, you know, I hate sunsets. Even though you might disagree, you can be like, no, you're not allowed. You can say yes. And sometimes a lot of mosquitoes will come out at sunset as well. You know, you can be like, oh, you know, that's also possible. Or yes, and some people do like sunsets. Why do you not like sunsets? Right? Like helps you continue the conversation without it feeling, you know, like in any way aggressive. Yeah, the encoding course. When you successfully debug your code, you gotta do the developer dance. Nice, that's perfect. Does anyone have a dance to math? Dance to music. Music is math. There we go. Shell, kind of. Arguably, all music is math. Time signatures, etc. Yeah, beat variations. Hey, Connor, blessings to you. Yes, ultimately math. Off, pants off. Throwback. Seems like you had more fun in high school than me. Oh, so my body feels tempo. My brain don't do math. Math off, pants off. I used to watch the show Dance Off, Pants Off. I loved it. The show was fucking hilarious. I don't think I've seen that one. You improv every day on the stream, Melt. You never know how the conversation is going to turn out or what we might throw at you, and you don't miss a beat. Yes, you're flattering me. Thank you. I do feel like, you know, I was thinking about this yesterday. I was tripping out about how so many of us were doing RPAN streams, right? And every single one of us were doing it differently. And right from the start, this is the way I decided to show up, right? As simple as just turning the camera on and sitting in front of it and having conversations with your friends. And like it's like it was so natural. Like I didn't have to force it. I felt like it was almost, you know, the inevitable thing for me to do. And the fact that you think I don't miss any beats is really an honor. I appreciate that, Joy. I feel like I have like a bunch of fractals where I like miss beats, but you friends show up with me anyway, you know, co-create ultimately. Thank you for improving with me, Joy. My dog is giving me the feed me breakfast stare. It's like, bruh, give me. Looks at Bowl, looks back at you, looks at Bowl. Hope y'all have a beautiful day. My amazing, wonderful friends. Blessings to you, Connor. Even better with you here, man. You know, the background is incredible, Mel. Thank you, bro. It's a little bit on the dark side now. Maybe I can do it like this. Yeah, it's nice. I agree. That is pretty nice. Weirdly enough, it shows up better on camera than it shows up for my eyes. It's interesting. Almost looks like, you know, the darkness is like especially dark, and this stuff is just like growing out of the darkness. Universe, you pretty. Yeah, the sunset background always looks like a shot from The Lion King. I am the Lion King. I watched that movie so many times as a child. Love is true. Did you know that crochet can be used to represent higher math? I keep mine flat. It's being done a lot. I mean, technically, right? Like you're turning a string into a three-dimensional object, right? That's pretty math heavy. Like our DNA does the same math with its protein folding. Nah, pishtina. Na pishtina. Did I say something incorrectly? I don't know what na pishtina means anyway. Joe, my mom is a wonderful lady, but let's just say it wouldn't surprise me either, especially since you are a bit older than me. Nanny? Oh, I missed the comment. Duck Dad, it's entirely my dad. He grew up in your neck of the woods. Stranger things have happened. Seems like you get the good looks though. Nice. This is the way. Entirely possible. Seems like I'm so confused. Joe, our eyes are the weakest at sunset. It's a biological defect. It's the time of day that most accidents happen. The more I know. Because like I can clearly see a difference between the way my phone is representing the sunset and the way my eyes are. Thank you for teaching me that. I also know that we have this basically the same amount of darkness cones that we have like normal light detecting cones as well. You know, so we should technically be able to see better in the dark. Na pistinha, boni pistinha. I probably butchered that, but now I'm there with you. Thank you, Joshua. Did we have a thing for dancer gymnasts barely 5 foot tall? I'm so confused what's happening. Fun fact joy over here. I love it. I love learning fun facts. Melt, you watched that movie so many times growing up because it was filmed in your backyard. It was probably a home movie for you, yeah. I was there. I was there when they filmed it. It's like, isn't it animated? No questions. As I've aged in the eye, I detect sunsets more greenly hued. That's pretty cool, Hugh. I don't know why I called you Hugh. Maulao, Hoopy. I feel like again that's something that you get to have that none of us might be able to. How do you use the experience of a green sunrise or sunset? What card is this going to be? I wonder. Oh, since I pulled 2, I guess we're going to pull both. Both of them upside down as well. I have a friend who is just in an endless pit of useless fun facts, but it's really interesting stuff. Yeah, that used to be me too, unfortunately, Connor. At one point in my life, people would call me Chappie. We have this brand of gum in our country that's called Chappie. And then on the inside of those Chappies, you have 3 little bars that have "Did you know" facts written inside of them. And because I would keep "Did you knowing" people, they would start calling me Chappie. That was my first introduction to getting bullied for knowing things. Pirates of the Caribbean handled that. Green sunsets happen when souls come back from the land of the dead. Sam, the green flash is real. It's real? That's pretty trippy, yo. This is the cards we pulled. Is a phase mandala and the star tetrahedron. They should try out for Jeopardy, Connor. Maybe. I mean, if you know that many useless facts, right? Then your knowledge of useless facts might end up earning you a buck or 2. Let's read phase mandala first. I think it goes something like, you may not be able to reverse cycles. Realize you may not be able to reverse phases. However, you can move with them. Yeah. Using what we have, right? That maybe we find ourselves in a new phase. And we can't go back to the old phase, but we can move with them. There we go. Card number 12. This card has no reverse aspect. So I guess this is the one where we're going to read the entirety of. Follow old Rafiki. He know the way. You don't even know who you are. Wax me with a stick. If Mel was a Lion King character, he'd be Rafiki the baboon. It's interesting you say that, dude. That is the character that I resonated with the most in the movie, actually. I didn't really resonate with the Lion King himself because I was like, this fucker, right? I didn't lose my dad. I didn't feel sorry for myself. I didn't run away from my family. I didn't live with a beautiful gay couple and eat bugs. I didn't do any of that, right? But Rafiki, yo, that monkey, wiping sludge on something's forehead, I was like, yeah, that's 100% something I would do. Why? Because it seems meaningful. It's like, wow, oh, this goo on my face. Now, what the fuck? That must be something. Fellow old Rafiki, no way. I just pay attention to what the universe says. The star tetrahedron, vehicle or Merkaba. This important three-dimensional shape in sacred geometry results from the interpenetration of two tetrahedrons, one upward-facing, male, and the other downward-facing, female. Together they form a beautiful configuration called the star tetrahedron, or Merkaba. The Merkaba is believed to be an instrument of expanded awareness, a time-space vehicle for multi-dimensional travel, and a path towards ascension. Choosing this card connects you with the aspect of your being that stretches beyond everyday life and promise to support your understanding of evolving consciousness and universal wisdom. It's almost like we were talking about this over and over again today, huh, Joe Schmo? It's like, oh, I'm so surprised that we pulled this card. You may want to employ this image to help balance your male and female aspects. And this is not gender, it's polarity, all right? Like we accept all of our friends, those beyond the binary as well. But that doesn't mean the binary doesn't exist, right? If the binary suddenly stopped existing, computers as we know them would literally not exist either. And yet we're building quantum technology where something can be something other, right? A mix, a fractal of ones and zeros. You might decide to construct your own star tetrahedron and embellish it with personal symbols. I still haven't done this. I've read this card like 50 times. I still haven't built myself a star tetrahedron. I'm getting closer. I really just wish I had a better printer, Like I am gonna get myself a good printer one day to be able to make my flowers, at scale, but they're like $5,000 a printer, never mind even the ink costs. So I'm like, yay, miss me that shit. You may wish to learn one of the breathing meditations that are widely available to help you experience the Merkaba as an interdimensional vehicle. Anyway, you decide to apply this energy, what you have, regarded as a powerful model for the manifestation of dynamic balance and the evolution of your vision. Yeah, nice. Lamau Joe. What did Joe say? Mufasa. Oh, I'm missing like, guess that's Sam, Dakaru, and Joe the Laughing Hyenas. That's perfect. For the win, you find out the voice of Mufasa is the voice of Darth Vader. The more you know, dude. I feel like I had that fractal somewhere, but that information was lost in me until you roll it back up. Whack you with a stick. That's what I tell other people about Teddy and I, or all the time, Joe the Laughing Hyenas. As long as I get to be Timon, then we're all straight. Lamau. Yeah, like Timon and Pumbaa is the secondary characters that I resonated with the most, right? Like I was more like, yeah, I felt like more Timon than Pumbaa, to be honest. I mean, because I didn't want to be stinky. I don't want to be stinky. Nobody wants stinky. And we weren't all those couples. We called each other king and queen. We're a couple of hyenas. Interrupts us at your own risk. Yes, sadly. Yeah, Joe, sadly, yes. Love is true. Me hides behind a tree and throws poop at you. Dibs on the monkey shamans. The more the merrier. Y'all are going long and strong today. We're here for the long run. I have more battery power today. You know, like when I got started, I already had like 77%, when I'm usually at like in the 50s. So we can go a little bit longer. I guess I really would be laughing hyena. I guess I really would be the laughing hyena. Wouldn't at least Swampy and I just go to be dumb and nomad all day? I mean, they do look like they were having fun. We can all agree on that, right? Like the hyenas, even though they were kind of scaly, right? Pretty shady little dudes. They looked like they were having a vibe. Like that scene with the hyenas were singing, they looked like they were like super lit. No other animal was having that much fun. Like the hyenas were balling. I'm at 77 now, 67 on that one, and this one is at 36. I've been pulling 36 or seeing 36 a lot. Hey Google, what is the significance of the number 36? Let's see, like that. This is how I take synchronicity. If I've seen a number over and over again and I keep asking why, then I'll actually just go and search. And even though this information could be anything, right? I take it as, this is like some clarity. And then I leave it at that. Ooh, wait a second. The meaning of the number 36 is all about balance. Choosing this card connects you with aspects of your being that stretches beyond everyday life. Na 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 na. Na na na. There we go. You may want to employ this image to help balance your male and female aspects. The card we pulled. This meaning is all about balance. The significance of the number is equilibrium, and it signifies a time of transition. For those who are born under the number 36, this means you are likely to live a quite balanced and comfortable life. Nice. And then you can, if you want to, and this happens to me sometimes as well, you can dive deeper and you can find even more of what this number means, more and more and more. But sometimes we have to be willing to just take what we got. Balance. It means balance, dude. That's what it means. And then accept. Thank you. Thank you, Sacred Geometry, for reminding me. 88%. More synchronicity. I think green comes more when you get settled in a life as suchness. Lovely chanting. Blessings, bro. I do want to actually know how to chant. I don't know if there's classes you can take, but I feel like I want to, but it's like I don't have the skills necessarily to know what I'm supposed to be doing, right? It's like lyrics. I think about it like lyrics, right? Surely there should be like chanting lyrics or something, like stuff you can go through. 47, more sync. It's almost going to be 66 on mine. And the thing about being small, Jaju, all hugs are supersized. Hashtag blessed. That's so cute, actually. Maybe I'm more of a Timon and Pumbaa kind of critter. No worries and such. It means no worries for the rest of our days. Nani? There it is. I want to get my joint again. Yeah, one hyena was dumb, one was greedy, and the other was actually evil. I mean, sure, but there were more hyenas, right? Like there were so many of those hyenas in those caves. Maybe there's some of them that's actually kind of all right, Those were just like the henchmen of the main bad dudes. So of course they would have to be the worst of the worst, right? The stupidest, greediest, evilest of all of the hyenas. Right? Not all hyenas are bad. Don't hate on the hyenas. The Rubik's snake. The Rubik's snake I got was my sister's fidget. We could turn it into a ball so quickly. I made it the ball shape. Puzzle it out just now. I don't know what that means. I'm guessing toy, right? My sister fidget. She could turn it into a ball so quickly. A snake that turns into a ball. Hey Google, show me the Rubik's snake, a toy. No, it's just showing me toys. Nice. Thank you. No, let's show me a toy. Why are you like this? Why are you like this? Show me. Rubik's. I didn't just look for my screen to read comments while I was holding the very screen I was trying to look at them. No, I didn't. I know. No. Rubik's of an X. Okay. Rubik's is Naka. Show me the Rubik's Naka. Ah. Uh-huh. Oh. Wow. Wow. Mm. I want a photo that can hold both. Right, there we go. You start with Schneck. Re. You start with Schneck, and then you can turn it into all of them shapes. And I'm guessing our beloved Hoopy turned it into a ball. One of these, one of those. The convex shape, the snowflake shape. Can you turn it into a ball? Yeah, but this one is like 72 pieces. That's a lot of Rubik's Snake, yo. Oh, then like it's an actual Rubik's product as well. They're making their own. Yes. You see, I didn't even know this thing existed. The more you know. Gaining information from this world, huh? I'm happy that you puzzled it out. You know, like using what you have, right? Using the same amount of brain power, using the same, let's call it a toy, yet coming to different conclusions, solving different problems. Melty, chanting is about the vibration and the cadence. The words aren't really important. That's true, but I mean like yum, bum, hum, lam, right? Those are like the vibrations of your different chakras. Let's actually go through them. Hey Google, can you give me all of the chants for the different chakras? I don't understand. Oh, it did actually understand. Nice. Mm-hmm. Bruh. It's giving me the information, but it's not giving me the information that I want. It's like giving me the chakras. I want the sounds. Give me the sounds that go with them chakras. Let's try that again. Can you give me the 7 chants that go with the 7 chakras? I get so triggered. Hey Google, can you give me the 7 chants like Vam, Yam that go with the chakras? There we go. I breathe in, I breathe out. They go, bruh, they're doing it again. Okay, there we go. So, Lam is the root chakra. Lam. Then sacral. Vam. Then solar plexus. Ram. Then heart. Yam. Throat. Hum. And then it's Om. Om. For both third eye and crown. You know, and like that's close to what I mean when I want to know the lyrics. Like I want to know more of that information and actually have it as a vocabulary in my brain so that I can come back to it. Right? It's like instead of just chanting to go ram lam yum hum yum hum ram lam yum lam ram yum hum. As an example, I was looking into the sound bowl healing class with the Soul of Yoga again yesterday, Mel. They had a drumming class that I was going to tell you about, but part 1 of the class happened in April. They do them cyclical, you know, so there might be another opportunity too. I really want to do stuff like that in person. Like I did my yoga course online, and I did gain a lot from that. But damn, it was rough, right? Because I had to start at like 1 a.m. No, at like 6 p.m. Sorry, and I would end at like between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. in the morning, and that was like a little bit much, you know. And I feel like it robbed some of the beauty that could come from the course, you know. The band Sigur Rós sings in gibberish and it's beautiful. The lead singer and his little sister made up a language as kids, and they used the made up language for the lyrics. Are you talking about that? No. I'm thinking about, a band that just like sings gibberish lyrics as well. Like it's English words, but it doesn't make any sense. Like I'm trying to remember one of the lyrics, but I'm blanking as well. According to the band, it's a form of gibberish vocals that fits with the music and acts as another instrument. Exactly. That's what the voice is supposed to be, right? It's nonsense singing designed to convey the absence of meaning. That's so beautiful, actually. Can someone of the AI image creator help me out real quick? I'd be willing to. Can someone generate Milani in the font style and color of the Lisa Frank folders from the 90s? Like I can take that exact, like, the thing about how these generative tools work is you want to be very descriptive, with exactly what it is you want. So I'm going to show you what you get if I give you exactly what you asked for. Skibby bobby doopy doop skibby boop. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Нет. I'm sorry. No, 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 no. There you go. Your work of art is being made, oh. It is being produced right now. I am making it for you, or I have employed my technology to do it for you. I can Afrikaans accent too. Yeah, I can. Just makes me cringe a little bit. I really in the Wallachia? Nani, what's happening? Let me see. I've been sleeping on 432 hertz music, and my sleep quality has been better. Bless. Thank you for using the frequencies, bro. We have the ability to create all of these frequencies without saying actual words. It's all about the vibration. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamagate, bodhisattva, sava. Gate. I don't know how to sing that, unfortunately. Maybe it's not even a song. I do use Sleep Noise Duck, but I haven't thought about tinkering with frequencies until now. Yeah, like you can even put like different frequencies in different sides of your brain. I've had a hard time doing that though. It's almost like it's sometimes just I'm not gonna say it. Words can create a rhythm that keeps the harmonica rolling. I use a few words that roll over the tongue smoothly and give me time to breathe while the frequencies carry. Maybe you can teach me as well, bro. I wonder if there's a way to use that to induce lucid dreaming. I wouldn't be surprised. Shan, do you chant the Heart Sutras in English or another language? Indonesia. I want to get into the hurt stuff like that, Doc. I admittedly don't know much. Just like paying attention to the different like chakras and the frequencies that go associated with them. I feel like it's already, most of what you need to know kind of vibe. I do it in Sanskrit, Nancy. This is the way. It's a form of singing made up sounds. Lead singer from the Dead Can Dance sings Indi Galicia. Oh, the made up language. Thank you for letting me know, Nancy. Makes a little bit more sense. Jovan, just Google search healing frequencies and the YouTube that frequency. Yeah, wonderfully to hear it on the headphones. It does have like a whole vibe to it. You and me both, the transparency might have it. Who's Milani? Is that Duckling? That's the way I'm registering. But I'm gonna now show you the works of art that got made with your prompt, bro. So that's what we got. This one is amazing. Look at all of those kitties. They all are pretty amazing. I really like this stylized, pixelized one as well. Which one do you want? Right? Vote in chat now. The one with the pretty cursed looking bunny and doggos. And she kind of looks like a psycho killer. Psycho killer! Kiss, kiss, This one looks cutesy, very animal. This is, I think, my personal favorite, just because of all of the floating kitty heads. Like, it's mildly concerning, right? Like, instead of butterflies, just cats floating. And this one, I don't know. I think she has 7 fingers though. One, two, three, four, five, six. She has 6 fingers in her hand. You win some, you lose some. Pixelized? You like the pixelized one? All right, so women, I asked out what she's dealing with some. Aight. So the woman I asked out says that she's dealing with some health issues and will reach out when she's feeling better. Is this a soft rejection? I don't know how anything works, Lamar. I think if she reaches out, that means it wasn't a soft rejection. If she doesn't reach out, that means it's a soft rejection, right? So now it's just a matter of time for you, bro. Like, yeah, see it through, wait and see kind of vibe. Then, yeah, probably. What up, 80s band, DCD? I used to have bootleg of them performing in LA. That's a soft no. We can't say no directly to men, or you might kill us. That's so fucking yikes. Being a woman, I admire your friend's strength. Know that you are loved, right? At least I do believe you. You know that. Bootleg cassette tapes, yo. Yes, the last picture is the best. Dan, don't get discouraged, dude. Just keep working on yourself. She will walk right up to you one day. You're looking for Telepath Maulau, the Chili Peppers, and groups. What? The Greek Theater in Berkeley, they're amazing. Six-fingered hand. Ah, yes, AI will save us all. They really do struggle with hands, right? And the way I see it is like, why not 6 fingers? Right? That's how we prove I'm not AI one day. Is I have 5 fingers on my hands always. Not AI confirmed. We did it. We finally did it. Yeah, I don't care that much. Just need something to do. Bro, if you're asking women out because you don't care that much and you just need something to do, maybe women isn't what you need right now. Right? Not being facetious. Is that the right word? Hey Google, define facetious. Facetious, treating serious issues with deliberately inappropriate humor. No, I don't think that's even remotely the right word. Right? I'm not trying to be mightier or higher than thou, kind of vibe. But yeah, I feel like if you're going to be with someone, that should be an important decision, right? Like, you have better things to do, and despite having better things to do, you still want to get into that relationship kind of vibe, right? Like, that should be, at least in my mind, the decision making process. That was years ago, obviously. This was years ago. The Greek Theater in Berkeley, they were amazing, of course. I don't care that much. Dan, it's important to care about your future partners. Humans aren't play toys. Yeah, I think me and Josh Mo are on the same kind of fractal. I don't care about being rejected. There we go. Unfortunately, there can be miscommunication. I'm looking for someone to hang with and have a nice time. I don't care if she isn't that person. I agree. Right? Like, you haven't invested or attached that level of self-worth to it being or not being. And I believe that's healthy as well. Right? But we should care about the person. We should care about, people that we want to be in a relationship with. We just don't have to care whether or not they want to be with us, right? Like, being able to still be happy for another person, even if they don't choose to be with you, is a valuable skill. I hear you, dude. I'm just saying, invested energy is worth a little bit of focus. True. Men use women for things that they should use friends for. Find a friend, Dan. I'm a man, right? So every single time you say stuff like that, I have to actually consider if that's true for me too, right? And if it's true for every single man, right? If I say women, no, 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 that's not okay because you cannot hit the bullseye by casting. Like, we mean that there are men that only sleep with other men, right? I'm pretty sure they don't use women for things they should use friends for. Checkmate, Joy Vive. I get what you're saying though, right? I feel like it's a weird mismatch. It's a weird mismatch again of value systems, right? Like the whole what you give and what you take. Where I feel like a sexual exchange, if it's a sexual exchange, should not be given in exchange for something, right? Like I feel like that's where the whole patriarchy comes in again, right? Like if you want to sleep with someone, you should sleep with them because you want to, right? Not because they're going to do something for you or because they're going to give you a sum of money or because there's going to be opportunities that await that as well. Like there should be a certain level of autonomy, at least in my mind, right? Like again, like what is actually attractive to me, and I feel deep attraction is the most attractive thing, more so than anything else. And I feel that's where it comes down to like a difficulty as well. Deep attraction can be difficult alongside friendship. Possible though, I do believe. I have friends, y'all. I want a romantic partner. I'm okay with that being a cause or more serious. I'm okay with that being casual or more serious. I'm not using anyone. I simply asked my classmate out for some drinks and I was just gonna go from there. Yeah, I wasn't projecting either, right? Like I feel like it's just a matter of misinterpretation with the limited information we have, right? There's a whole fractal that is Dan and his experience right now. And what he can share in text is only going to be a small representation of the fullness of it, right? And we can sometimes, overemphasize our own morals, using a message is almost like a backing point, right? It's like a message can serve as a wall, and then we can be like, oh, but look at all of this space, right? Meanwhile, there's all of this depth and stuff on the other side of the wall as well, that facilitates this person's experience. Pets, Joy Vive, softly, it's okay, calm down, put the claws away. Yeah, right. Like, I feel like just making statements about one or the other, right? Be it race, be it sex, be it gender, be it anything, isn't going to be useful, right? Like it causes people that are innocent to feel guilty for something that they didn't do, right? And the people that do it get angry, right? And are more likely to do it as a point, as like a spiting kind of behavior. If we can kind of like disarm ourselves, to make it a them problem and realize it's a us problem, I feel like that's where we kind of like start taking steps into actually making it better. Midas cutting, when you lean down, never leans down again. New and improved. Stop hiding my messages. Please show me what my friends have to say. Thank you, YouTubes. Do 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 doom doom. Dum dum dum. You just said you want a friend. Now you say you want a romantic partner. I'd also say, I mean, a romantic partner should, in parts, be your best friend as well, right? I also say that people use people, Joy. True. My most recent romantic endeavor was one where I was the one being used, not her. And how did that make you feel? I feel like that's almost a cringeworthy question, but that's really what I want to know, right? How did that make you feel? And do you want other people to feel the same way? All right, that's the most important thing. If we get hurt, not to hold on to the hurt and be like, this person is so horrible, like ripping a cactus, right? Is letting go of the cactus and then watching the little wounds heal and then not handing other people cactuses. Slowly but surely, making sure less people have cactuses in their hands. What are those little light sparks being flickered across the screen? Probably aliens. I can't see what you're seeing, unfortunately. It's dark. It's dark outside for me. See if I can drop my brightness a little bit lower still. Conserve energy. I have like 2 bars left. I think we're gonna go for the longest stream in a while. With today's experience. I'm having so much fun. A casual or mediocre approach to a relationship will yield mediocre results. Agreed. Unfortunately. All right. It's not going to be passionate if there's no passion. Surprise, surprise. I think you meant hang with and have a nice time as a euphemism. There we go. I'm thick. And euphemisms fly by me in person, let alone over text. Me too, at least. I'm the same. I'm the same. I'm there with you. I think you guys are assigning way too much meaning to my words. I'm looking to start casually dating again. That's all. I'm here with you, bro. I'm not judging. I'm just sharing what comes up in my soul. And I think that's what we're all doing. And sometimes our soul can make more with what we have. All right. Like that's the point. That's what makes it beautiful. The fact that we can literally create more stuff from something as small as like a few words being said. And we can do that for the good as well, right? Like we can do that for the good to remind ourselves of that. I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time, Dad. I'm sorry. It's okay. We love you. Either way. Mel, you remind me to stay hungry. Hungry? Like for historical context, I think I might be curious about. Please, Brother Bear, right? Like the point of all of it, all of this, what we're doing right now, is conscious evolution. And if you have to go and do research on your own to consciously evolve, and then you bring all of that conscious evolution into this space, you accelerate this whole process of us all knowing more, being more equipped, being better at what it is we're doing. It's okay. Uh, just tell me to stop. It's okay. It's okay, but I'm not a fuck boy, which goes around leading women on. Being open to casual romantic relationship doesn't make me one either. It's true, right? There's nothing wrong with having needs as a human being and wanting intimacy in your life. And not everybody is ready for relationships, but we have needs even if we're not ready for relationships, right? So I understand, Brother Dan. Go beat one out, just holes to casually use now and again. I hear you. Fortunately, Joy Vive, women also like to have sex. Right? I know this might come as a surprise, especially historically, where we have convinced ourselves men are the horny ones and women do not have any sexual drive. It's not true. We all have sex drives, right? And there's nothing evil about that. We are made this way, by our biology, so that we can continue to co-create and procreate, so that our species can continue, and it happens that way everywhere, right? Then wait a second. I'm actually super emotionally sensitive. Often catch feelings first, and always communicate my feelings and intentions. That's what matters. Agreed. Communicating your intentions directly will eliminate a lot of curiosity between you and the people you are seeking a bond with, trying to help you create a bond with. Exactly. And the way that I see it as well is that clarity is something very valuable to me, right? And communication is the best way to share clarity. Melty just said it. It's hard to draw a full picture from just a little info. Nobody is jumping on you for your choices, dude. Just trying to help you find what you want. What exactly do you want? That's a good question to ask ourselves as well. Hang with them and have a nice time is open ended. That could be one on one or two, then a farewell, or it could be more than sex afterwards. That's up to her and I to decide when the time comes. Agreed. You want a fuck buddy. That's a pretty easy to find. Not very satisfying though. Yeah, just all of the doubt. unfortunately, right? Like whatever that doubt looks like. That one time in Bandcamp in Pompeii, the one time in Bandcamp. No, Joe, it's open to anything right now. I'm single. There we go. Yeah. Sex isn't a need, it's a want. You're not going to shrivel up and die without it. And Blue Balls is made up. Also true, right? But it's again a connection thing, Joy. You also aren't going to shrivel up and die if you don't spend time with people. But surprise, surprise, if you don't spend time with people, you live a more unhappy life and a shorter one at that as well, statistically proven, right? So you can communicate like, oh, you're what? You want to spend time with people? What, are you going to shrivel up and die? No, but I might want to kill myself if I can't spend time with people, right? Like that's the point, right? What do we define as needs? Has a broad spectrum, right? You don't need to be loved by your parents. You're not going to shrivel up and die if you're not loved by them. But surprise, surprise, it helps you be a more rounded human being. I really don't appreciate being told to beat one out. I haven't done anything wrong here. I asked a classmate out on a date and didn't have any preconceived notions about it. I feel the same way, Dan, right? That's why I also made my stance. Then I think that might be some of it. That might be some it too, though. Open to anything isn't very specific, and that feeling of whatever is probably received by the ones that are being suited. Yeah, I consider she might want to have sex, which I'd be interested in as well. I don't think that warrants being told to go beat one off. It's okay to have sexual attractions, right? If the sexual attractions by the other person is reciprocated, that's a win for you. If it's not, then look somewhere else, right? I feel like that's what we should understand as well. That there's a time and a place for these things as well, and holding expectations of one another is where the real problem comes. And I feel like that's where I feel Dan is coming from, right? Dan doesn't want to hold those expectations of another person, to commit to him mind, body, and soul, for him to be able to have an intimate connection with someone, right? That's what I'm feeling from Dan right now. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm open to anything because I don't really know her, Joe. Dan, don't be defensive, brother. It's just a heated subject matter. And it's good that we're talking about this, right? Like we all get to grow from this perspective, consciously evolving. Nobody's trying to offend you, just give you a sounding board. Getting to reflect, right? All of us being mirrors to the universe, reflecting back to you what you put out, right? And then you get to see parts of yourself essentially. Dan, man, just know you're a full human as you are. Your love for it. May you go into the world radiating your you-ness and abundance. Be magnetized to you. That's so beautiful, Joe. Thank you for sharing that. Now, the Smile song, How Soon, is now start up in my mind. I don't know it, but I'm happy that music is happening. You put it out here. Yeah, and it's okay. I don't know if you're still here, Brother Dan, but I feel like we're not attacking one another. It's just a matter of, we realize that there is no separation, right? Whatever any of us do to any of us, all of us inevitably feel, right? Again, you can feel everything right now simultaneously, right? But we only feel and experience the things that facilitate our survival as a being. That doesn't mean the everything doesn't lead into your survival as a being, the feelings you're having right now. And that still is important for all of us to remind ourselves of. Sex shouldn't be the motivation. Nope, definitely not. Another castle I used, Meat is Murder. What? Another cassette I used to have, Meat is Murder. That I'm so confused. These random small fractals. If you wanted to control the response you received, have the conversation with yourself and not others. I I feel like it's just about damage control, Joy Vive, right? Like if we're going to say things to one another, paying attention to how that will be received, right? You can say something, you can say what you want to say, while being mindful of the other person, right? And I feel like that is what we're advocating for, if anything. Love and compassion are the bread and butter of finding a friend. This is the way, exactly. Uh, I'm happy that I touched on what you were experiencing, Dan. Exactly, Melt. I'm looking for a partner, but I may find a sexual friend or a short term girlfriend while on that journey. I'm open to any of those experiences. And I feel, again, right, like you're showing up for it. And I feel like that's what you're trying to communicate as well. Like you are now entering a period of life where you want to show up for that potential again, right? You're not going to hold, like, for instance, right? Like, we can talk about it like this. Dan's motivation in this moment is to find a wife and then have kids with her, right? Like, that is his goal. Like, he wants that for his life, right? And now he goes and talks to a person. And then if he goes, I want to marry you, impregnate you, and then, raise kids with you, that might be like, oh, whoa, person. Like, we don't know each other, right? I want to have coffee with you maybe first, and that's what I feel like Dan was saying as well. Like, there's still due diligence that needs to be done, and he is in the starting process, right? Like, maybe not trying to get our hopes up, from a friendship perspective of being like, yeah, marry her, Dan, right? Like, maybe that's, at least that's the way I'm trying to, interpret and understand, to open my heart to his experience right now as well. Going where life leads you. Wait a second. Just chilling with someone and not asking them to go on a date makes a huge difference. That could actually. But if you invite someone out, right, that is still, even if they maybe like they maybe they know you only want to be friends, right? That is still a big commitment, right? And some people aren't going to want to spend that time chilling with someone. Makes a big difference. Going where life leads you, respecting not only other people's boundaries, but knowing your own. We're all figuring it out actively, right? That's part of the conscious evolution. Like, is this, there's no separation. So the only separation that exists is the lines that you draw, right? That's what boundaries are. And we make those boundaries inside our own minds of our own egos as well, right? And those boundaries can be melted, especially if they lock people out, right? For instance, maybe you were dismissed as a child every single time you tried to communicate your emotional state. So you inevitably built a wall so high inside of your own mind for your thoughts not to be able to escape through your mouth and communicate how you might be feeling to another person. And then in that case, it might be good to melt those boundaries that you've put up in yourself when you actually find someone that you can trust. And it takes time, right? That is, again, a conscious evolution process. It's like literally using your mind to change your entire reality. I didn't put it out there, Joy. I asked if I was being soft rejected, and the census was yes. I never asked to have you assume a bunch of things about me or my relationship with women. Agreed. Assumptions, right? When you assume, you make an ass out of you for assuming something, and me for assuming I'm an ass, right? And then we end up both feeling sour at one another because both of us the ass now. You have lunch together and learn about that passion, that person first. Dating is a panicky way to seek acceptance from a stranger, especially if that acceptance needs to lead to getting laid at the end of the night as well. And then the financial damage you incurred, and then the mind's, need for validation depending on how much value you invested, right? Because we have this idea of investing stuff and having a return on our investments. Money brain damaging us. So some freaking patriarchy keeps coming back. Oh, no, 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 no. I can't control how something is received. It's true, but we can control what we output, right? And I feel like that is the point we're trying to make. What, well, like, again, our whole stream topic about, using what we get, right? And that's what you said. You can't control something, how something is received. You're gonna receive stuff. You can't control how it will be received, but you can control how you will let the other person receive, right? Using what you got to give something else. Are you going to be like, oh, this thing is broken, so I'm gonna give it to the next person broken as well? Oh, I know that person is upset about the broken thing as well. And now both of us get to be upset. Or you're gonna try and fix it, give it to the other person in a better state than you found it. You know, it's like that kind of mentality. Joe, oh my goodness, that sums it up. Just have lunch together. Start from the stranger. Yeah, the panicky thing, right? Just spend regular time together and see what happens. No drinks, no dates, just Joe. Speaking in generalities here, of course, of course. You should stop doing that, Joy, because I'm not a generalization. Joy does tend to do that, right? And it's kind of like funny because I feel like that's in large part what Joy wants to fight against as well. It's like we are in large part in the position we are because of generalizations, right? Like marginalizing people, being like, oh yeah, this race of people, so and so, right? Men, so and so, women, so and so. And if we do that, we end up putting information into the world that is incorrect and is going to cause a reaction in people that do not resonate with that fractal, right? And that is a disservice that we're doing both ourselves in that assumption and the people we assume things about, because it cuts you off to have a better experience, right, Joy? Like you talk about men so and so a lot, and the more you hold on to that as your reality, that's going to be the men you end up finding, right? Because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't open yourself up to this possibility that there are actually good people in this world, then how can you hope to find them? Especially if you might find them and then you tell them that they're not a good people because of their skin color or because of their sex or because of their sexual orientation, right? And that's perpetuates. It lets history repeat itself in the worst possible way. I want to point out that the situation is exactly why men fear expressing their experiences in romantic situations. Yeah. And it becomes like a men to men echo chamber, which is, misconstrued and lacks context as well, because again, it's us versus them mentalities. Peace and love and light to you all. Love to you. Thank you, Joe, for reminding us to become mindful of our peace and our light as well. If you keep acting like a victim, you're going to keep being treated like one. I said generally, if you think I'm talking about you, then you're generalizing, and I can't help that. If you use the term men, then you are generalizing. And we can't help that, unfortunately. Uh, Joy, I understand where you're coming from. It's just a harsh statement for some to receive. It is stereotyping, right? Which is basically the next step to racism, right? Which we've been trying to fight for a long time now. We're like really trying to get past doing that because it doesn't help. Just leaves us all hating each other a little bit more, right? Like let's stop. Let's stop generalizing and stereotyping about people. Right? There are a wide variety of human beings, and not all of them are the same, fortunately. Right? We get to be different, we get to grow, and we can actually make that growth happen more by showing up, in a kind way for one another. Mm, yeah, but you did, in the context of my question, I mentioned that I'm open to a casual relationship, and you made it about men viewing women as holes. Yeah, which is not fair, right? I don't think that was like, and then it like paints a picture of Dan in that fractal, right? Because you're replying to him like, "Oh, just beat one out. Don't use women as holes." And even though I agree with that statement, right? That's not the way that it should be communicated. Right? Because again, the words we use create a certain visceral imagery inside of the being, right? And nobody wants to identify with that. All of us have holes. I have holes, right? Multiple ones actually, and I don't want my holes used, right? Like I don't think it's an exclusive thing. I feel like s- sex as a concept, as two people coming together, no matter what their sex, you know, or their gender, two people coming together, that's an intimacy thing. That's not a holes thing. Sure, holes can be included, but I feel like this is a higher level principle that comes before the holes. And I feel like maybe again that's what Dan was talking about. Sure, the holes might be a part of it, but that's not Dan's thing that he's showing up for. It's a 3-hour stream. I don't think it's the longest one. I think we might have done one a little bit longer, but this is definitely up there in the top tens or top 20s. Love. It's so obvious what's happening here, Joy. I offered my perspective, and you made a bunch of assumptions. about it because I'm a man. You're projecting onto me, and I'd appreciate if you stop. Sometimes we have to first rather than, right? Sometimes we have to accept that some people might see us as, a predator for just being a man. And I feel like that's kind of like some of the brain damage that's been happening as well, unfortunately, where all men are pigs, right? All men are predators, all men are the scum of the earth. And it creates just a barrier, right? Another layer of separation of like, oh yeah, I can't trust anyone, right? Yeah, no trusting, right? Because my trust might get me exploited, and then painting that picture over every single person, causing us to live even more isolated lives. Want to tell you, every time Melt reads your exit from the stream, it makes me smile. I've been literally feeling it, Nanshi, Shan's message, medicine mama, literally, right? My goal, thank you so much for letting me know. Mission accomplished. I like legit appreciate it so much for her sending it every single day. If only I go by what you're saying. You've changed what you're saying, looking for 3 different times in writing. What am I supposed to think about that? I said I'm looking to hang with someone and have a good time, which is open ended. Once again, you assume that means I was looking for easy sex. And even if you are looking for easy sex, right? If the woman that you are looking for easy sex with is also looking for easy sex, then why is that something that we have to raise our eyebrows about and wiggle our fingers to? No, no, no. You're not allowed to sleep with another person. Like that's the point I'm trying to make, right? Like why are we trying to be holier than thou and be like, oh, you put your pepness in vagine? Shame on you, right? No woman has ever wanted to sleep with a man, right? And you rapist, you daring to go out there and want to sleep with women. Women also want to sleep with men, right? And if if Dan gets to find someone who just wants to sleep with a man, then let him, right? I don't think there's anything wrong about that. I want a friend. I want something casual. I want a relationship. I get what you're saying as well, Joy. Uh, want to start dancing casually. I never said friend. Like I feel like this is just at this point, like I'm going to quote a Shell. I think it was Shell who shared it. Might have been Louisiana even, But we can imagine relationships, our connection with one another, as two people being on either side of a plane of glass, you know? And when you say something to another person, it might seem like you're throwing mud on that glass, right? It's not going to hit them directly, but it might hit their perception, right? And now there's this mud on the glass. And then if they keep hitting that window with more mud balls and you can't see through it anymore, right? It's hard to see the person on the other side because of how much mud has been thrown on the wall. And this is what I meant to you rather than sometimes we have to just be willing to clean off the grime on our side of the window because you cannot clean the other person's side of the window. You have to clean your own, right? And like that's the point I'm trying to make is that things have been said, right? But we cannot clean their side of the window. We can only clean ours. To let it go, to accept it, to metaphorically lick our wounds, and accept that some people might assume something about us erroneously, right? And there's nothing that we can do to convince them otherwise as well. Sex is free and love is free, and confusion is free. Sunlight is free, and so is breath. You ain't gonna pay for any of these experiences. Agreed. And something that Joe Schmo said as well, right? I don't believe either that only sleeping with people because that's what you need is going to be meaningful in the long run as well, right? Like I wanna echo that as well. I do find value in meaningful long-term relationships where you want to actually spend time with the person afterwards, right? Like if I don't want to spend time with you at all, why would I want to sleep with you, right? Like that kind of vibe. And again, I think that's where the open-ended comes from. Like if he doesn't like spending time with that person when they have a drink together, then he's probably not going to wanna, sleep with them either. There we go. Those are lights, you're right. It's our neighbors, I think. They're like a while away, but still. I never said I want a relationship. I did think you did say you want a relationship. I said I oh there we go. I said I want a relationship, and I'm open to other things along the way. That is very clear, Joy. Sorry, you're the only one. It's okay, brother bear. You know, like again, that's like mud. Uh, Like it's like throwing more mud in the window. It doesn't help, right? Like sometimes we have to scrape down. Simply ask what the fuck. You simply ask what the fuck is happening. It's not the same. Some big thing just flickering across the screen. I'm the only one seeing this. I don't know about flickering across the screen, but there might be light there in the background if I move too much, for example. Go check to make sure. No, we're fine. Let's play some Kalimba. Finishing today's stream off. 3 hours. Nice. Nice. Brother Dan, little did you know for, bro. Your message, propelled me forward. So if anything, think about that. Oh, think about that. You telling me that you appreciate these streams, and the fact that they might be a little bit longer, giving you the energy you need. Help me stream a little bit longer today, giving me energy. I used what you gave me, bro. I see the beauty that you're trying to bring into the world. Joy Vive, I see you being a proponent for women, for your fellow sisters, for not wanting them to be used as sex objects, and you standing up for your fellow women in that way. I appreciate you for being a warrior for yourself and for the ones that you love as well. None of us are trying to be hurtful. We're standing up for ourselves and for the ones that we love, right? And we have to recognize that. We have to realize that that is what we have right now, right? Realize that there's not animosity trying to be thrown. We're trying to be loving. Love is still true. Remember. Love Sam, love Shell, love puppies, I love Pop Tarts, I love bugs, I love little birds, I love spending time with you all, beautiful humanimals, as we love you, Joshmo. There can be only one. Joy, I'm sorry you've been hurt by people in your past. I hope you can see past it and stop burdening new people in your life with the actions of those shitty folks from your past. We can all heal. This is the way. I thought that was fun. I could do this all day long. Love is true. Love is true. We love you, brother. Want you to help as a different. We want to help you as a different fractal, perhaps. Yep. Even some that might be counterintuitive, right? Like maybe this girl you want to meet up. Maybe the next girl you want to meet up with has this exact same perspective that Joy V has right now, right? Like she might even accuse you of like, oh, you want to date me? You want to have sex with me? And you can now, having had this experience, communicate with her from a more balanced perspective, having had this experience, right? Now it's not novel. Now it's not something to be scared of. It's just something that you have to approach logically and have a mindful conversation with. Consciously evolving is what we're doing here. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. I know. Some of the most uncomfortable I've been is trying to consciously evolve. But it is worth it. Bedside manner in this space isn't always gentle. Can be a little bit abrasive, melty, if you will, right? That's enough. Y'all continue. I'm gonna get to know my mod abilities. Sam, I see Sam almost like going full Terminator with like the shades and everything. That's enough grumbling. Yeah, let's play some Kalimba. Become mindful of this moment. It's 19 minutes past 7 for me. Let's play some Kalimba. Melting. skip bop. I think I saw some more mud being thrown at windows while I was kalimbaying, and so it be. What the fuck, indeed. Love is true, all right? Anyway, I think that's kind of the point of what we do here as well. That sometimes two people showing up for love of themselves and love of their fractal can end up differing so vastly that it feels impossible to concede. Hey Google, define concede. Concede. Admit that something is true or valid after first denying or resisting it. Both ways. Both ways, right? Maybe there is a part of me that just wants to have sex with women without it meaning anything. Maybe. Maybe there is a part of me that assumes something without it necessarily being true about the other person. Maybe. Maybe both of us are right. Maybe both of us are wrong. All right? The fact that we get to continue, the fact that we get to have this conversation, even despite these misinterpretations of our character, communicates the fact that love is true, right? We don't have to start stabbing one another because we love one another to be genuine, to have these conversations even when they're difficult. Love is not true if you're a young guy casually dating. Who knew? Whatever we assume, right? Whatever we assume about our reality is what ends up becoming our, experience. Assume the best, get the best. Assume the worst, get the worst. Melt more. We say you can't get toothpaste back into the tube. Toothpaste everywhere. Yeah, you don't have to get toothpaste back into the tube. You can brush your teeth. All right? You can clean. And I've done this. I don't know if it's embarrassing to say, but I've used toothpaste to scrub the inside of my sink because I wasted toothpaste. I mean, that's like happened like once in my life, but I mean, right? Part of my fractal. Something can still come of it. If I offended anyone here with harsh dose of life experience, I genuinely apologize. I don't think there's any need to breath a bear. I appreciate, right? Maybe instead of apologizing, say, I thank anyone who might have been offended by my experience for choosing love, right? And I thank you, Joe Schmo, for apologizing because I know that that's coming from a place of love as well. Life isn't black and white, and closed minds never learn. This is true. You're going the right way. Let's just breathe in and out, right? Nobody needs to get time out of it. Melty took the words right out of my mouth. Just brush your teeth with the spilled toothpaste. There we go. I love you so much, Melt. We don't agree on everything, but we agree on the most important things. And you were so funny. Thank you. I like that. I like being considered funny. That's good for my ego. Good. I'm not only insane and serious. Oh, thank you. I love you all bigly, including Dan. Sometimes I can't help giving anyone a hard time. Shit, as my boss. We love you both, Dan and Joy. Spicy as you can be, right? Like I feel Joy is like the edge surfer, right? Like there's definitely been eyebrows raised of Joy spiciness, but we show up for love, right? That's where love is true. What are we showing up for, right? We're not showing up here to fight one another. No, that's definitely what we didn't show up for. That's why it hurts, especially when that's what we end up getting, right? But the fact that we can continue having the conversation without running away from it, that means love is true. That's how I define love in my mind. That's why I'm like so willing to show up and have these conversations with my dad as well. Like if love wasn't true, I wouldn't have these conversations with my dad, right? Why would I want to? It doesn't serve my state of being, and yet still we show up for these conversations. I love a good argument more than most, but I draw. But a draw is a draw, and if you keep nipping after each other, you're gonna hurt some feelings and ruin the vibes. This is true. I don't come to this community to be picked apart. Hopefully, we can avoid it in the future. Peace. Love you, Brother Dan. I hope that I wasn't melting you, right? I felt like I took both of your friends' perspectives, right? Put myself in your shoes, went back and forth, trying to understand. Love is true. Love is true. The stream was like stir fry with soy sauce. Joy sauce. uh, a lot of joys. Sultry mixture. Oh, let's read Shan's beautiful comment. Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I sincerely and seriously love you all so, very super duper, giantly, ginormously, gargantuanly, megally, monolithically, massively, monstrously dearly. Melt on all of you oh so very wonderfully incredible, outstandingly, spectacularly, sensationally, stunningly, fascinatingly, gorgeously, shimmeringly, radiantly magical, divine friends. As we love you, dear Shan, as I love all of you, thank you for joining me again. Consciously evolving. I think this might be the longest stream we've ever done. Hoorah! Celebration. It is 9:47, today's stream number. So I feel like it's appropriate, right? 9 being like the completion number, 47 being a number in our community. The number I associate with Shan every single time I see it. Same with Jovan for 34, Lane for 69. I think about Aiden and Toasty for 11. And, I think it's Gob is 23 or something. Love is true. I'll see you friends again very soon. Until we do this tomorrow, record breaking, yeah, gang, gang. Did the mic just die? Yeah, it did.